Yes, case number 63 on the calendar in the matter of Platts versus Nice. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
How old are you, Miss Platts?
20 years old.
And you, sir?
21.
Well, the two of you decided to play house together. You moved in, you had a couple of dollars, you put $1,500 towards a used car that was purchased, then you had a baby, and then you decided that this family life was not for you right now, so you left. And what you want is you want your $1,500 back that you put down on the car because he took the car with him.
Yes.
You want him to pay some more money for rent because he left, leaving you with a lease.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you say that he caused some damage to the apartment?
Yes, Brian
Caused some damage to the apartment. He says, well, there's plenty of security deposit to take care of that. He says that the car is his, it's in his name, it's titled in his name, it's registered in his name, it's his car, he had every right to take it. Doesn't deny that you put in the $1,500, right?
Correct.
He said that was a gift. And as
Your
far
Honor,
as the
that
rent,
was not a gift.
And as far as the rent is concerned, he said he was a really nice guy because he paid November and December's rent.
Correct.
Even though he only lived there part of November, and the rest you have to take care of. Right? Good.
No,
okay.
Your Honor.
How old is the baby?
10 months.
Who do you live with now?
The baby and I live together in our apartment.
In the same apartment?
Yes.
Are you working?
Currently, no.
Who's paying the rent on the apartment?
I've been using the baby's Christmas money, Catholic Charities help me, and my tax return money I've been using, and my parents have been helping me out.
How far do you live from your parents?
Maybe 3 miles.
And you don't want to go home?
No. It's my responsibility, my daughter. It is not my parents to take care of my daughter and I.
Well, but you said that they've been helping you. My question is, I mean, is there a reason that you wouldn't go home with your daughter?
No. Just that I'm independent with my daughter. This is our home.
Well, you're not independent. Miss Platts, let me explain something to you, darling, sweetheart, little girl. You're not independent if Catholic Charities are supporting you, your parents are supporting you, you're using the baby's money, which was not intended to use for your rent. That doesn't make you independent. That makes you dependent on a whole bunch of people. Independence means that you're able to take care of yourself. Do we understand each other?
Yes.
There's a difference between being independent and just because you're living in an apartment not with your family, and being independent because you're taking care of yourself and your responsibilities.
Well, I was working prior to Brian.
I was.
And
I used to be a natural blonde. Do you understand? That's used to be. I was never a natural blonde. Get me riled. What are you doing with yourself?
I work full-time.
And how much money do you contribute towards your daughter? Is not an answer.
I pay child support. They take
how much?
$120 a week.
I have not received any.
And I
don't just think that you can pop in here and speak. You cannot. When I look in your direction or ask you a question, you can speak. Do we understand each other?
Yes.
Good. When did you start to pay $120 a week?
It went into effect about 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay. And you left in November.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's say 6 months. How much did you give her for 6 months?
I don't know offhand. Money
Let's
here,
think, no,
here
just
and
a
there.
second. Offhand? I'm going to give you a second to think.
Okay.
When you moved out in November, how much money did you give her?
I paid the rent for November.
Good. Anything else?
No.
December?
I paid the rent also in December.
Anything else?
No.
January?
Nothing.
Nothing. February?
No.
March?
Nothing.
April?
Nothing.
Were you working?
Yes, ma'am.
Why weren't you giving her money?
Because I didn't feel that I should have to pay her rent any longer.
I'm not talking about paying her rent. I'm talking about giving her money to support your daughter.
I give her money here and there.
Here and there is what?
When I have extra money to give.
No. Is your last name Nice?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Nice, what kind of work do you do?
I work for a Chevy dealership.
How many hours a week do you work?
About 45 to 50.
How would you feel if your employer said, I think we're going to pay you once in a while?
I wouldn't appreciate it.
Right. Why is that, sir? Because it's their responsibility to pay you for the hours that you worked. Is that right?
Absolutely.
That's a commitment that they made. You work, they pay, right?
Yes.
When you make a baby, you have a commitment, the same sort of responsibility. Not when you have extra money. Your baby eats before you do. We understand each other, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you left Miss Platt's, she wasn't working. Is that right?
That's right.
And she was staying home and taking care of the baby.
Right.
Put your hand down. I'm not speaking to you. So when you left, you knew that unless you gave her support, she was going to have to find some other way of getting money, because daycare is expensive. So either she was going to stay home with the baby or put the baby in daycare and get a job, probably be a wash, right? So who did you think was going to support your baby?
Her.
How?
Find a job.
And who was going to take care of the baby?
A friend, babysitter.
And who was going to pay the friend or babysitter?
If she works, her.
And what about you?
Me too.
But you didn't?
I would help if she had a babysitter. I would help pay for it.
Did you tell her that?
Probably not.
Huh?
Have a good time. This one here.
Mr. Nice, did you use $1,500 of her money towards the purchase of this used car?
Yes, I did.
And how much was the car?
$2,500.
Where did you get the other $1,000 from?
I came up with it. My money.
What do you mean you came up with it?
I had money, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had a temper flare-up, is that right?
Yes.
Don't go back looking for your security deposit, sir. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because you've spent it.
And later today,
Is there a rest of that outfit that you're wearing? You wouldn't go to church in that outfit, would you?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Autumn Platt says the father of her child, Brian Nice, owes for a car, his share of rent, and damage to their apartment. Autumn says Brian walked out on her and their baby.
Now, when you left, you took the car.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you purchase the car?
Last April.
So you had the car for less than a year when you left,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And this car was to be used for the two of you as a family. Is that right?
Correct.
That's why she gave you more money than you put in for the car, right?
Yes.
So what makes you think that you're entitled to that car?
It's titled, registered, insured. She doesn't even have a license to drive a car.
That doesn't answer the question, sir. Same situation existed when she gave you the $1,500.
Correct.
The expectation was that the car was going to be used as a family for you, for her, for the baby, right?
Right.
Okay, when was the baby born?
July.
And the car was purchased in April?
Yes.
Now, I want you to tell me about the damage to the house. First, who put down the security deposit?
Brian and I both put in $250 each for the security deposit.
What is the estimate of the damage to the apartment?
$217.50.
Well, then his half of the security deposit is going to cover the damage.
The holes are fixed now, and the bill is due. And I don't get the security deposit back until I move out of this apartment.
Get a job.
I start a job next week.
Perfect. He's not getting back his security deposit of $250. It's less than $250 to fix the holes that he put in the wall because he was angry. He had a temper flare-up, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, don't go back looking for your security deposit, sir. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because you've spent it. Now let's get to the rent. Do you intend to stay in this apartment?
Yes, I do.
And it is possible to break the lease on this apartment because you're not responsible for the apartment because you were underage when you moved into the apartment. I mean, you couldn't sign a contract. You have to be 21 to
No,
sign a
I
contract?
have a lease that Brian and I both signed.
How old were you when you signed it?
Oh, I was 19.
Did you speak to the landlord with regard to breaking the lease?
Yes, and we would still have to pay the rent.
No, that's not true.
Oh.
No, that's not true. What do you mean? Oh, I asked you if you spoke to the landlord. Did the landlord tell you that for
He
so
said
much
he would
money
take
you
us
could?
to court.
No, he wouldn't. Did you try to sublet the apartment?
It says in the lease that no one else can move into there.
No. It says that you cannot sublet it without written consent of the owner. That's what it says. But you choose to stay there.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, if you choose to stay there and he paid November and December's rent, then you have to cover the rest.
I have the bills that I have paid from January till May.
Good.
The rent.
Good.
But
That's what you
I
have to
had
do.
put in money, too, for November and December's rent also.
That's okay. You were living there.
Yes.
So?
But I feel he should have to pay me half the rent for them
No, he
months
doesn't.
because his name is on the lease.
No, he doesn't. Madam, if you decide, Miss Platts, to stay in the apartment, and you have the ability to either sublet the apartment or for a fee terminate the lease, and you chose to stay in the apartment with your daughter so that you can be independent, then you pay the rent, not him. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Perfect. But you are entitled to your $1,500 back. because the $1,500 was not a gift over here to Prince Charming. The $1,500 was made with the expectation that both of you would be enjoying the car. Do I make myself clear, sir?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He has supervised visitations on Saturdays 12 to 2 for 2 months now, over 2 months, and he's shown up for 1.
I work Saturdays. It's hard to get the day off.
I want him drug tested because he does drugs.
I have to pass a drug test, which should not be a problem.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Nagel versus Goulet, step forward, please.
20-year-old salesperson Michael Nagel is suing his ex-roommate, 18-year-old model Jessica Goulet, for unpaid rent and bills. Jessica is countersuing, claiming Michael sold her stereo and pet bird.
The defendant was a roommate of yours, and it is your claim that she moved out owing you for some rent and bills.
Correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Goulet says that she owes you nothing. As a matter of fact, she says that you have retained her property and sold some of her property, according to her, and that you actually owe her money.
Yes.
Is there a rest of that outfit that you're wearing? When you go to a court, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to cover your belly button. Do you understand?
I do understand that.
Good. But?
I was just going to say that I only have a very limited amount of clothing because all of my other property is at his place.
Well, would you like to borrow her shirt? That would have been more appropriate. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have to know where you're going. You wouldn't go to church in that outfit, would you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you know enough to do that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Good. Now, when did she become your roommate and under what circumstances?
October 28th, 2003, Your Honor. The circumstances were, I've known her brother for close to 9 years now. We moved in together. However, his job made him move. So under his advice, I took in his sister and her boyfriend as my new roommates, because without that, I would have to cover the rent and bills all by myself.
Okay. They were each going to pay how much? A third of the rent each?
They each were going to pay $225 a month for rent, Your Honor.
And how much was your rent?
$525, Your Honor.
And they did move in on the 28th of October?
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened in November? Did they pay rent?
Yes.
December?
Yes.
January?
No.
What happened in January?
Her check bounced, Your Honor, and I had to cover that, and I've only been reimbursed $150 from that check.
Why did your check bounce in January?
My parents had just moved, and I was taking care of everything on my own. I had just gotten a car and things like that, and I thought I had the money. If I wrote the check, I would be able to put it in the bank and it would clear, but it just...
So she owed you $75 from January?
$113 from January, Your Honor.
Why?
Due to the fact that there was a late fee on this.
I got you. Okay, so that's January. And what happened in February?
I had come back from Nashville, Tennessee on February 3rd, and I had asked her about rent because it was due. I had talked to the landlord, and he had given me an extension to turn it in on the 3rd. So I asked her about rent, and she flatly said, you know, I don't have it. So Is
that right?
Yeah, I told him that I didn't have it, that I would get it to him as soon as I could.
And she didn't, Your Honor.
When did you move out?
I actually moved out. He had kicked my boyfriend out, say, January 16th, around that time. And there was a big discussion about that.
Why did you put her boyfriend out?
Because he didn't pay bills, Your Honor.
I didn't agree with it because he wasn't going to give him any time. My boyfriend agreed to give him $600 on that Monday, but he told him no.
Why didn't he pay him when he was supposed to?
Because he wasn't going to get the money until that Monday. He couldn't get the money till then.
Your Honor.
Because of his work.
So the two of you expected him to cover your bills until you could get your acts together.
He told us that he had an extension on all of that and it was okay. When my boyfriend offered to give him the $600, he said that if he gave him the $600 that he could stay there, no problem. And then he called my brother, and my brother told him no, that just kick him out now, don't even take the money. So he just
packed up
his stuff.
What was the $600 for?
The electricity bill, the phone bill, and the cable bill. He had ran up a large amount of my cable bill by ordering adult entertainment on there, as well as movies. And I have proof of that in my records, Your Honor.
I believe you. Listen, if they had paid their bills, I assume you wouldn't have minded if they stayed.
Right.
Right? Okay, so she owes you for February's rent.
Yes, Your Honor.
You didn't pay February's rent, did you?
I moved out before February 1st.
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
No, you just told me you were there.
I actually was staying there, but during the day I was with my boyfriend. And when I came back to get clothes and stuff like that, because I was staying the night with him, he was like, your check bounced, I need the rent, and you have to get out. You either pay me or you get out. So I told him that I would leave, that I would try to go get the money. When I came back, he said, you can only take your clothing, because I didn't want to stay there anymore, because when he gets pissed off...
See, Your Honor, I gave her a chance to get her clothing, and she refused.
I refused to get my clothes?
Yeah,
That's all I have is my clothes. You have everything else.
Don't
You have
fight with
everything
each-
else
Sorry,
of
Your
my
Honor.
belongings.
Miss Goulet, first fix your shirt. Very good. Don't fight with each other. You want to fight with each other, you go outside. You
I'm
don't
sorry,
come
Your Honor.
inside.
Sorry.
Okay, $338, $113 for January that's still due and owing, $225 for February because you lived there most of the month. If you left to follow your boyfriend, that's your problem. Grow up! You got to grow up! Now, let's talk about her property. You still have her property?
Yes, Your Honor.
What about her bird? She says that you sold her bird.
She left it there, Your Honor. That was her brother. Her brother decided to sell it, not me.
Step up. Tell me your name.
My name's James.
Did you come into possession of her bird?
Yes.
When?
After she left, I had started staying there to help Mike out with his bills and stuff like that, and I sold her bird as well as her stereo. And then she's also countersing.
Why did you do that?
Just, you know, come up with some extra money to help him out.
And also, Your Honor, she had been gone for over a month by that time. She had not called or come by to get her stuff. Therefore, I had no room and nowhere to keep the stuff.
She doesn't have, you don't have to take care of a bird. Well, you want the money for your bird back?
The money for my bird was $500, bird and cage, and plus my stereo was $150.
Your brother sold it.
I know,
You're
but
suing the wrong person. Now, as far as your clothes and other property is concerned, you still have them?
Yeah, she can
When
have
could
it.
she pick them up?
She picked it up right after court, Your Honor.
Terrific.
Now, also, Your Honor, we had a lease agreement when her and her boyfriend moved in that if they did violate the lease, they would be responsible to pay their half of the rent until March.
Where? Show me. They signed it?
Yes, Your Honor, and it's dated also.
Are you still living there?
I actually moved into a different apartment in the same building, Your Honor.
When?
April of this year, Your Honor.
But, Honor, all I'd like to say is I've tried countless times to call him and get a hold of them. My witness has tried calling them. I have tried calling
For what?
them to get a hold of them. So I was going to offer him $500 to pay off the bills so I can get my stuff back. But
He's giving you your stuff back.
I know, but I was going to do this before we even had to go to court. I
Your
didn't
Honor,
want it to go this far.
I have a question, though. If she wants her stuff back and was offering me $500, why is she suing me for $5,000?
Because you
she's
won't
not
give
going
me
to get
my stuff back.
5,000 yen. Do you understand? You're
Yes,
just going to
Your
give her
Honor.
back her stuff. And please
All
give
I
her
want
back
is
all
my
of her
stuff. I don't
shirts.
care about the
Yes,
money.
Your
I
Honor.
wanted to have a nice long
And
shirt.
pants.
Did they give you any deposit when they moved in?
Yes, Your Honor, they did.
How much of a deposit did they give you?
They gave me $250 together. $250 had to go towards some of the bills.
You got a lot of bills. So far, she owes you for January and February's rent.
Correct,
This
Your
is,
Honor.
You know, this is not windfall day for you. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $338, and 5 days from today, she will pick up all of her stuff. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step up. Your Honor, this is case number 86 on the calendar in the matter of Balzolari versus Martel. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks have seats.
Mr. Balzolari, you and the defendant were engaged to be married and lived together.
That's correct.
Unfortunately, you were incarcerated for a period of time in drug-related charge and then went into rehab. And it is your claim that during that period of time, Miss Martel cleaned you out, took your property, took your money, broke up, and she won't return a very expensive engagement ring as well. Miss Martel said all of that money was used to pay your bills, to pay for things for you while you were incarcerated, and she had to sell the engagement ring in order to pay those bills. Right?
Right.
Okay. When did you become engaged?
Your Honor, that was approximately 4:20. I'd purchased the ring. Here's a picture and a receipt. It was shortly after that we became engaged. And,
April 20th.
Yes, somewhere around that time.
Of what year?
02.
When was the wedding supposed to take place?
There was
Mr.
no
Morse?
date set.
What were you waiting for?
I don't know. For us both to agree on a certain date and, you know.
Okay. So you became engaged in April of 2002 and you were living together.
Yes.
When were you incarcerated?
It wasn't a drug. I'd like to correct that, Your Honor. That wasn't a drug-related charge. It was a felony charge. It was an impersonation charge is what that was. It wasn't drug. I agreed to go into a drug court system.
Explain that to me, sir. You were convicted of what?
Criminal impersonation of a police officer. It was a felony charge, which at that time I was volunteered in a drug court in Rochester, New York.
Well, what did criminal impersonation have to do with drugs, sir? Why would you be placed in a drug court? I'll get to you in a second.
I was
If you can't give me the answer, because I'm going to get to the answer. If you can't give me the answer, I'll allow you to help me.
Okay, thank you.
All right?
Before I had that charge, Your Honor, I was in a voluntary drug outpatient program.
Okay.
And during that time when the judge seen that At that time, I picked up the charge. She says, well, if you continue to stay sober and clean and continue your drug treatment program, we will dismiss the charge. And I failed to stay clean. So he incarcerated me and asked me if I wanted to do the time or do I want to help myself and change.
Mr. Borzelli, is what you're telling me, sir, that you pled guilty to criminal impersonation as a felony? The judge allowed you to remain at liberty as long as you were in a drug rehab program and remain drug-free. Is that what you're telling me?
No, there was no plea. My choice was...
Can I see those papers, please?
This was my whereabouts. The judge says, if you stay clean, we'll drop the charges and we're going to put you in drug court. Simple. If you stay clean for a year, we drop your charges. Conditional discharge.
Now I'll hear you, because this doesn't sound all right to me.
Exactly. We were friends. This is before we started dating. He was caught downtown in a well-known drug hotel impersonating a police officer. They forced him to go into drug court. It wasn't voluntary for him.
And then I assume that as part of this agreement that you had with the judge, you tested positive for drugs at some point?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you went into jail. And you went into jail, according to this, on the 12th of January 2004 to the 20th of February 2004.
Correct.
So for a little more than 6 weeks.
Correct.
Okay. And is it during that time that you claim that Miss Martell cleaned you out?
Oh, yes.
Okay. During that 6-week period?
No, not entirely.
Well, when?
Well, cleaning out, I don't know where the cleaning out comes from, but I have a telephone bill. When she moved in, Your Honor, she was 6 months behind in her mortgage. She says, I want to get away from my ex-husband.
When are you talking about? What year?
02, when she moved in.
I'm not interested in 02. Pay careful attention to me.
What are you interested in?
1/12/04 until 2/20/04.
Okay.
Period.
Here's a bill. She agreed to pay my phone bill, never did.
Mr. Borzelli?
Yes.
Get to it, sir.
Get to it?
Yes. I'm not
phone
interested
bill,
in the phone bill.
Cable bill she didn't pay. Here's the pictures I have from my house.
I'm not interested in whether she didn't pay bills for 6 weeks, sir.
Okay, so what are you interested in?
Well,
I have a bill here, Your Honor.
It was my
home that I paid somebody.
Speaking, sir.
Go ahead.
You're asking me, and I'm telling you. It
Okay.
was my impression, sir, that what you were suing her for were two things: personal property and reimbursement of money taken without authorization is what
Okay.
you're suing for, plus the return or value of the engagement ring.
Okay, thank you. Right here, Your Honor, is a receipt from a $2,180 check. Mr. Grimes, here, my witness, is cashed it, gave her $2,180. She only paid a mortgage payment of $960, and that's all. I have missing money.
So is what you're telling me that she cashed a check for $2,000 and
Yes,
that
ma'am.
was your money?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And that she didn't pay sufficient amount of bills to cover that $2,100?
Yes.
Okay. She paid $900 in a mortgage. She did pay that
Yes, she
for that
did.
period
Almost
of time.
$1,000.
Here's the receipt, ma'am. It's
How much is the
$900.
mortgage?
It was
The
almost
mortgage-
$1,000.
Excuse me. Shh. I have a receipt.
Just tell me how much it was.
$979.
Okay, so that's
For the
close to
mortgage.
$1,000. So that's
Thank you.
$979
Yes.
out of $979 out of the $2,100 that she cashed. Okay, what else did you pay for out of that money?
$600 of Rochester Gas and Electric.
Your Honor, I have a receipt here for $1,000. She didn't pay squat. Or nothing, I should say.
Mr. Borzelli, put down your paper, sir. Okay. Where's the other $600?
$200 from, this is what I wanted to say before, in December of 2002, he was incarcerated for a positive drug test. He went to jail for a week. I had $200 for that week of collect calls. When he went to jail the next time...
I'm not interested in 2002. What else?
Commissary money I brought to the jail.
How much?
I believe $80.
Okay, little bits of money. Let's talk about the engagement ring. Gave you an engagement ring. Clearly, it is an engagement ring. It's a solitaire. Where is it?
I sold it.
Did you?
Yes.
When? Look at me.
February.
Don't look in the air.
February of this year.
Show me. Show me.
I don't have a
You sell a
receipt.
$14,000 ring. You have a receipt. You have something.
I sold it to a family jeweler.
I don't believe you. You're lying to me. Because if you sold it to a family jeweler and you knew you were coming to court, you would have said to the jeweler, can I have a receipt for the ring that I sold?
I could have, yes.
Well, where did you think you were coming today? To a tea dance?
No.
You were coming to court.
Right.
Court takes evidence. You're full of baloney.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What?
She was responsible enough to sell it to her family jeweler.
I don't believe her, and I I don't believe you.
And later today,
John grabbed his dog, Buddha, kind of just pulled him back a little bit and then pushed him off. As soon as he pushed him off, he ran directly to Emily. The very next thing I know, she's screaming.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Robert Borzolari says ex-fiancée Stephanie Martell owes for the return of money and an engagement ring. Stephanie claims she sold the ring to pay bills while Robert was locked up.
Okay, it wasn't your ring. Now, even if you sold it, you had no right to sell it. It was your ring only if the contract to get married to Mr. Borzelli was consummated. It was not. The ring is given as a gift in contemplation of a marriage. Your argument is that you had to sell the ring to pay off bills. What bills did you have to pay off? What?
To maintain, he asked me to stay in his house and to maintain his house.
6 weeks. What bills did you have to pay in 6 weeks that he did not cover with the $2,100 that you took out of his account?
I had to come up with money to move out of the house.
That's your problem. Are you over 18?
Yes.
Deal with it. That's your problem. That's not his problem. What?
I was just going to say that first and foremost...
Say something by standing up.
Sure.
What?
First and foremost, she was responsible enough to do what she had to do to take the engagement ring and sell it to her family jeweler.
I don't believe her, and I don't believe you. She did not sell this ring to a family jeweler, because if she did, the jeweler is responsible by law to give her a receipt. Do you understand?
I do understand.
And this wasn't a little ring for $300. This was a solitaire, which she paid over $14,000 for. And if you expect me to believe that she sold that ring in February to pay bills for him, which is what she alleges in his answer, I don't buy it.
That's
judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000, which is the maximum that I can award to you, sir. I want you to listen to me very carefully. You can put everything else away. I'm not interested at all about any other money she owes you, because the ring covers it. Do you understand? Clearly. I assume that you sued her in small claims court because it's the only way that you thought you'd get any money at all, and you wouldn't have to hire a lawyer to sue her civilly anyplace else. You are entitled to that ring back, because an engagement ring is not an absolute gift until the marriage is fulfilled, and it was never fulfilled, right?
Yes.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff. Out.
Parties are excused.
It's wrong on his part. The reason we didn't get married was his actions.
I gotta hand it to Miss Martell. She's very consistent. Every time her lips move, there's a lie.
I didn't want to be with him anymore, and he was upset by that.
You've heard of the deal saying a good pet's gone bad? Well,
he was threatening me because I wanted to move out for a while for him to straighten up.
how threatening am I? 140 pounds, 5'4".
Ooh. And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pritchard versus Butler. Step forward, please.
Legal assistant Tanya Pritchard is suing her former friend, roofer John Butler, for medical bills. Tanya says John's pit bull bit her 5-year-old daughter in the face.
Mrs. Pritchard, this is your little girl, I assume. Is that right? Her name is?
Emily May Lowry.
And Emily was bitten by a dog that is owned by Mr. Butler. And she was bitten on the lip.
Correct.
She had some surgery.
Yes.
She's going to need probably some more.
Yes.
And you are suing him for $4,000 for both her prior care and the care that she will probably need in the future, as well as some pain and suffering.
Correct.
And Mr. Butler says that it was Emily's fault and your fault. Correct, sir?
Correct.
Ah. When was your daughter bitten?
Where or when?
When?
When? September 6, 2003.
Next question is where?
We were at a company picnic potluck.
What does that mean?
It was a gathering with the company my fiance works for. So we were at a company potluck picnic. Everybody brings some stuff, and we just all get together. And
how many people were there?
At the beginning, probably around 100.
Did there come a time where there were more or less people in the 100?
Yes. After the softball game, about 3/4 of the people left.
What time did this incident happen where Mr. Butler's dog bit your daughter?
About 15 minutes before 8.
Had Mr. Butler been there the entire day?
He had been there during the picnic and the potluck, and then after the picnic and potluck and softball game, he left.
Where did you go, sir?
I went to go get my dogs.
Why did you leave to go and get your dogs?
I figured it'd be a good idea for them to run around in the field so I could throw the frisbee for them.
So you got them to play?
Right.
Had you been drinking that day, sir?
I've had a few beers.
A few is more than 2.
2 beers.
Well, was it 2 or more than 2?
A couple. 2.
A couple, 2. And When you left to pick up your dogs and you brought them back, did you bring them back on leashes or not?
Not on leashes at all.
Why not?
I don't ever put leashes on my dogs.
Well, when your dogs are around other people, isn't it usually a wise idea to keep them on leashes, sir?
I've never had a problem before.
How long have you had these dogs?
I've had Buddha for 2 years.
Buddha?
Buddha.
Is that the dog that bit Emily?
Yes, ma'am.
And how old is Buddha?
3.5.
So that he was 1.5 years old when you got him.
Yes, ma'am.
Now tell me about when your daughter was bitten by Buddha.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Here's my question for you, genius. If you know your dog is skittish around children, how dare you bring an unleashed dog to a picnic where there are children?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tanya Pritchard says former friend John Butler owes for her daughter's medical bills. Tanya says John's pit bull bit her in the face.
Go ahead.
Okay, John came back with the dogs, let them loose. They were running around. The people who stayed decided to play horseshoes, so we all moved to the horseshoe pit area. The children that were there were playing right behind our chairs, and our chairs were facing the horseshoe pit so that we could see what was going on. Buddha was actually in the way of the horseshoe game that was trying to get underway, and he kept running in front of everybody that was trying to throw the horseshoes. So everybody was telling John to get the dogs out of the way. John grabbed his dog, Buddha, kind of just pulled him back a little bit and told him to stay out of the way, and then pushed him off. As soon as he pushed him off and let go, he ran directly to Emily. The very next thing I know, she's screaming. As soon as he let go and said, "Go away," the dog ran and jumped up and bit her.
And bit her on the face?
Yes.
Describe that moment.
I actually have pictures of it.
I'd like to see the photographs.
The bite, we were told by the surgeon that there was only 1 millimeter of skin hanging.
Can I see it? Don't tell me what the surgeon said. That's hearsay. Emily, could you come up here so I could take a look at your lips, sweetheart? Come on. You're a very pretty little girl. Is that where the dog bit you? Did it hurt? Very pretty. Do you know my name? Do you know what my job is? No? Do you know who your dad is? Would you like to go and sit down next to him? Go ahead. Go and sit down. Okay. All right, well, this is a pretty nasty bite. How many stitches did she have?
It took 15 stitches. 10 of them were on the inside, and then 5 of them were on the outside.
What do you have there?
I have an estimate from the plastic surgeon of how much the dermabrasion is going to cost. Okay. Dermabrasion is where they just grind it down a little bit to get rid of those bumps.
Okay. Okay. And Mr. Butler, were you present when Buddha bit Emily?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me first your version of how that happened, sir.
Everybody's playing horseshoes, and I was talking to a fellow co-worker, and he was falling down on me. He was intoxicated. And people were playing horseshoes, and I was waiting my turn to play the horseshoes. And all the little kids were playing Frisbee and throwing the ball behind all the adults. I think there's like 2 to 3 dogs out there, I don't know. And I just heard a little scream, and everybody was freaking out, and then I found out that one of the dogs had bit the little girl. So I grabbed both my dogs, and I put them in the truck. And then I went and grabbed some ice for the little girl.
You knew it was your dog?
Well, I brought 2 dogs.
You didn't know which of your 2 dogs had done it?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of dog is Buddha?
He's a pit bull and Boston Terrier.
How much does he weigh?
25 pounds.
Now, I read your answer very carefully, and your answer said that you believe it was Emily's fault.
Right.
I'd like you to tell me why you believe, sir, it's Emily's fault.
Well, the dog had been abused as a puppy, so it was kind of skittish around kids. So what I think happened was she had a stick or something in her hand and was most likely trying to get the dog's attention so that the dog would chase the stick that she was trying to throw for it. So she was probably hitting the dog and screaming it, and the dog freaked out and bit her.
Okay, so let's go back to that. When you got the dog was 1 year old.
Right.
1.5 years old. And the person from whom you purchased the dog or from whom you got the dog had told you that the dog had been abused as a puppy.
Right.
By children?
By a child, yes.
By a child. Is that the reason that they were getting rid of the dog?
That was the reason why.
So you knew that the dog was skittish around kids?
I'd never seen it, but that's what they have told me.
Then here's my question for you, genius. If you know your dog is skittish around children, how dare you bring an unleashed dog to a picnic where there are children?
I didn't think anything like this would happen.
You didn't think, which means you didn't use your brain. Is that right?
That's right.
So then, why don't you just say, it's my fault and I'm responsible?
It's not.
No, whose fault is it? It's Emily's fault. Emily had prior knowledge that your dog was skittish around children. This 5-year-old had that information? Take your hands out of your pockets. I just asked you a question.
No, the child did not know, but the parent...
But you knew.
I knew.
Right. You knew. So what you're supposed to do is keep a dog like that within your control at all times. Not bring a dog who's been abused by children and skittish around children to a picnic. Because that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. You know, ordinarily, I may not even think that punitive damages are appropriate, but your stupidity is absolutely worth punitive damages. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,000. That's all.
Parties are excused in the matter of Saturday versus Colvin. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Who is this?
This is my mother.
Who is this?
This is my mom.
Do you work?
I just graduated college.
And you?
I have my own business.
What kind of business?
It's a secondhand store that sells home interiors and clothing.
Okay. How long have you been in that business?
Just 4 months.
And what kind of work does your mother do?
My mother's retired.
From what?
The electric company.
You think your mother ever had a fist fight with anybody?
Yes, I do.
You do? You think your mother ever had a fist fight with anybody?
She has not.
Right?
Right, it's not.
Ridiculous, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Did you ever have a fist fight with anybody?
Yes, I have.
Really?
Yes.
How many times?
One time, someone came to my house to fight me.
How long ago?
25 years ago.
Okay. One time. I don't understand girls having fights.
My mother had a fist fight.
Sorry, Bert, I don't care. Yeah, I'm sure your mother's a nice lady. I don't understand. I don't understand ladies having fists. I don't understand men having fist fights, but you know, they're men, so you sort of understand it. But I don't understand women.
Yes, having fights.
Nurturers. Caregivers.
Yes.
Pulling hair, scratching eyes, using their... I don't understand that. You agree?
Yes, I agree.
So, it is your claim that the defendant had you falsely arrested twice for various acts, and the second time was for violating a protective order that she had against you. The defendant has a cross-complaint. The defendant's cross-complaint is that you assaulted her and caused her to lose a contact lens, so you both want lots of money from the other for emotional distress and this loss of your freedom and the filing of false charges against you. Those charges were subsequently dismissed after a trial.
Yes.
Okay. How do you know each other?
I met Taquana through a mutual friend.
What started the problem between the two of you?
Taquana is just a bad person. I was around her only for about 2 months, and the type of person she is just, she's a bad person. She does bad things. She's very argumentative.
So you didn't like her?
Yeah, and I decided I didn't want to be around her. And while she was still friends with the friend that we met through, I even told Taquana, like, well, since you're around her and I'm around her, we're going to get along, just like that. And the last time I had seen Taquana was probably like the beginning of June of 2003, and didn't see her again to September 9th, September 10th at a nightclub. And I seen her with her cousin. I went up to her cousin, because Taquana and her cousin, they just started being back friends.
Listen to me.
Okay.
I have other cases to do.
Okay, okay.
Let's get to it.
Okay, well, I said something to Taquana's cousin, and evidently her cousin said something to her.
So you said something negative
I
about
really didn't say. I'll tell you what I said. When I was seeing her cousin, I went to her, I gave her a hug, and I told her, I was like, if you need a friend to hang around, I will hang around you. You do not have to hang with Taquana. Taquana is a bad person.
So you said negative things about her?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. On September 10th, the night that I seen her, Taquana called like 3:40 in the morning, left me this crazy, terrible message telling me that she's going to handle me, she's going to come to my house, she's going to see me, this and this and that, and she's going to call me early in the morning. At 8:40 in the morning, she also called me and told me that she's going to come over my house and handle me. And I have the recording right here if you would like to hear it. Brace yourself.
Saved message.
Okay, just stop. Stop. Stop the tape. Make it lower, Bird, so that, because it probably is distorting the sound, so that I can hear it. I got the gist of it. Why would you call her and leave that kind of a message?
Because Sandy had been slandering my name to relatives as well as...
What had she been saying about you that you heard?
She had been saying that I give oral sex, I will steal your man, I will steal your money, I'm a bad person, just all types of things about my character that were false.
So?
So, I was...
You think that a message like that says that you're a good person?
No, it doesn't.
You think it says that you are a genteel person?
I think that that type of message would just lead somebody to believe that I was highly upset.
Well, going to get her, because that's what you said.
Yes,
in the message. That's what you said in
I
the
didn't say that I was going to get her.
Well, pretty much.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She was choking me, said, I'm going to choke the out of you. I'm going to kill you. I punched Sandy back a few times or so, trying to keep her off me. It was just basically hitting on me.
Fight.
Yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Mary Sandy Saturday says Taquana Colvin had her falsely arrested for assault. Taquana claims Sandy beat her up and threatened her life.
She called you and she left a nasty message. What's next?
Okay, when she filed a false charge against me for, she said I was stalking her. This was like on March 10th.
Let me see what she filed against you.
And that's how my mother got involved.
Well, it says that, did she assault you in September of 2003?
Yes.
How?
Sandy called me back at my cousin's house, and we talked, and she stated at that time that she didn't want to fight me, and she was tired of arguing with me. And so at that time I asked Sandy, what will it take for you to stop?
That is the whole
No.
story.
Listen to me.
Okay.
Say nothing.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What will it take for you to stop slandering my name and talking about me constantly? And I suggested, if I give you back your $50 for the 50-cent concert ticket, would that settle the dispute?
Why were you going to give her back the $50? Had she given you $50 and you didn't give her the ticket?
Yes, she had, I gave her the ticket, actually. She had gave me, before we went on a summer vacation together, I purchased a set of 3 tickets. One was for Mary, one was for another person, and one was for myself. And we went on the summer vacation where Sandy and this other woman started being really mean to me. So by the time that I returned to Cincinnati, I had pretty much decided that I was going to end the relationship with Mary and her friend, and that they were not going to the concert with me. I had purchased them on my credit card, and what I wanted to do was just reimburse them for their money and take other people. And Mary agreed.
That was September
10th. So I went over to her house.
What time?
Almost noon.
Okay.
When I stepped up on the curb, Mary appeared at the door. She ran out of her house and ran down the steps, and she approached me. She asked me, what the do you have to say now? And I stated, I don't have anything to say to you. I'm coming over here, and before I could finish my sentence, she punched me in the forehead.
And then what happened?
And she continued punching me. She started choking me. I was pushing Mary back by her shoulders, constantly asking her to stop fighting me. She was choking me, said, I'm going to choke the hell out of you. I'm going to kill you. Basically, I punched Sandy back a few times or so, trying to keep her off me. I turned and I ran across the street, and she chased me across the street and grabbed me by the back of my hair. It was just basically hitting on me.
Fight.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me your interpretation of the events of September 10th.
I never called Taquana. I never spoke with Taquana. I haven't had a conversation with Taquana since probably the end of May. About around 12 o'clock or whatever, ritual, I go to the gym around that time. I come out my house, and Taquana's sitting in her car waiting for me. And I walked down the stairs, and we just started fighting. But you didn't hear the rest of this tape. The tape is crazy, and it's just crazy. And the police, I did call the police because I live on a cul-de-sac, and Taquana and some girl kept riding on the adjacent street from me. And I sat on my porch and waited.
And you were arrested as a result of...
I was arrested 12 days later. the first time.
But for this incident?
For
this incident
the
on
assault.
September 10th?
Yeah, I was arrested
September
on
10th.
September 22nd.
Can I see the paperwork you have, please?
Okay. This is for the assault. This is the dismissal for the TPO, and this is the acquit for the violating the protection order.
Yeah, well, it says on September 18th. Not September 10th. It says it's September 18th. Was there another argument on September 18th?
No.
No.
They got this all wrong.
She had did this to other people in 2003 too. So since she done did it to so many people, they probably got mixed up.
Well, maybe I'll ask that question. Maybe it will be in this other report. Have you been cited for any other assault in 2003?
No, ma'am.
Yes, you have. Right here.
You sure? Before I look at any other document, Ms. Colvin.
I totally forgot about that, but I didn't have to go to court on it.
Can I see it, please? That's not what I
They just drove
asked
us to the police. Yes, ma'am.
And this
Well,
fight
let me ask you
in
a
2000.
Yes, you certainly have. How many times have you been cited for assault?
I think just 2 leading up to that situation.
It's fair to say that you have a problem with your temper.
I don't have a problem with my temper.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Mary Sandy Saturday says she was arrested because of false charges Taquana Colvin made to police.
How many times have you been taken into custody for assault?
None.
With the exception of this time?
Yeah, with the exception of that one. Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
Including myself, 2 other people filed protection orders against Taquana in 2003.
And they were
Can I see them, please?
All for the same thing.
Can I see them, please?
No, that's not true.
Let's take a look.
Judge?
What?
Can I speak?
Sure.
Okay. Ma'am, Sandy is saying that Taquana does all this and all that. This has been a big ongoing thing with our cousin.
Listen to me. I have a
Yes.
who sought a protective order against you.
Ex-boyfriend.
I don't care, but he sought a protective order.
Okay.
I have a...
Yes, and they were both dismissed.
They were both dismissed.
Listen to me. You have a temper. I just heard it.
Okay.
Okay, so I have one incident here that caused this protective order. It was ultimately dismissed.
Yes.
Okay, now let's get to the second one. The second cause of action that you have is that these 2 ladies came to your place of business and you told your boss that there was a protective order because there was a temporary protective order in place. He asked you to leave. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you did leave.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you filed a violation of the temporary protective order.
Yes, ma'am. Can I tell you what happened?
Sure.
When we
No. I want her to tell me what happened.
I left the bar manager.
How many bars are there in Cincinnati?
Many.
So how do you think it came about that you chose the one where she was employed to go into with your mother?
It's not that I chose the one that she was employed at. I live on that street. My business is on that street, and I attend that bar several times a week. Mary chose to get a job at that bar knowing that I had already been living on that street, had already been owning a business on that street. She got the job. Did she have proof of how long she had been working at that bar?
Just a second. Don't ask me. You're showing your temper, honey.
Okay.
I'm going to just let you go. You're going to bury yourself. On what basis do you claim that she violated the protective order?
Before the bar manager came over to ask me if I had a restraining order against her or whatever, I agreed. I told him, yes, I did have a temporary restraining order against her. He said, okay, that's fine. When you finish with your drink, would you please leave? I said, sure, I will leave when I'm finished with my drink.
Why didn't you just leave?
Because I was in the middle of my drinks as well. I was with my
when you
relatives.
file a protective order against somebody, that
I was
means...
there first, Your Honor.
Be quiet. Be quiet.
When you file a protective order against someone, Miss Colvin, it means that you're afraid of them, right?
Supposedly, yes.
What do you mean supposedly, yes?
That you're supposed to be afraid of this person. Yes.
Right.
But I was with my...
Sit down. So I would assume that when you filed, since you say you're a normal person,
Right.
that when you filed a protective order against her, you filed it because you were afraid of her.
Right.
Well, then, I wouldn't wait till I finished my drink, even though I was there first. I would say to my mother, I don't want there to be any trouble. Let's go. You, on the other hand, decided to stay because you were there first. And your store is on that street, and you had a right to be. Well, that's what you just told me. You said I was there first.
I was there first, but I was going to leave like the bar manager asked me when I
He
finished
shouldn't
my
have to
drink.
ask you.
Okay.
Don't you understand what I just said? He shouldn't have to ask you,
Because
madam.
I'm supposed to be afraid, right?
Let me tell you something. I believe that she filed these protective orders against you, and I believe she filed them maliciously. And I believe she knew about filing protective orders because she had already been served with a few herself in her lifetime, so she knew exactly what kind of trouble you could get into. Now, is the assault that you are claiming the assault when you went over to give her back her $50? That's your counterclaim, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, that's baloney. Because that girl whose foul, fresh mouth left 2 messages on that machine did not go over to make peace the next day. No way. So your counterclaim is dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
And I believe that she did file these cases against you maliciously. You were ultimately fired from your job. You're seeking $3,000 in damages. Now, my question to you is, do you believe that you acted appropriately in all of your dealings with the
acted very
defendant?
appropriately.
Okay. Put your hand down. Better teach your daughter a little self-control. She needs it. Tell me about your job. When did you lose your job?
Let me tell you what they did. When they talking about they was going to just leave after the drink, no, they put up a fight to stay in the bar. They put up a fight. And
What did they say?
They was talking to the manager, talking about it's a public place. They have the right to come and drink this and this and that. And I get to work at 6 o'clock. About 7:15, they were still in there. And then 3 police officers came to my job, got me from out the bar, and arrested me. Taquana told them I threatened to kill her.
You mean at the bar?
At the bar.
Can I
And
say-
then a few days later, or the next day, her and her mother, she get it from her mother. She get it from her mother. Her and her mother requested a meeting with the bar manager and the owner to get me fired.
Is that when you were fired 3 days later?
Yes.
But you were removed from the bar by the police?
I was physically removed and arrested.
What?
She was removed from the bar because she went back by the register and turned around and faced me and my party and did this, and at the same time said that you were dead.
You shouldn't have been there.
Yes, ma'am.
You were annoying her.
Okay.
You and your mother. And whoever else you were with. You had no right to be there. Saturday is seeking compensation for having her falsely arrested and for losing her job in the amount of $3,000. I'm awarding her $3,000.
Thank you.
You better learn to watch yourself. Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000.
Thank you.
That's all.
All your judges.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Safford, the defendant is your child's maternal grandmother.
Yes, ma'am.
And your lawsuit claims that she had had custody of this child for a while, and then you were ultimately awarded custody of your daughter?
Yes,
And you claim an overpayment of child support.
correct.
Ms. Daniels says that while you may have had physical custody of the child during that period, she actually had legal custody by a court order. Is that right?
Yes.
And
that's
therefore
right.
she is entitled to the support. Is that your defense?
That's my defense.
Your complaint was rather sketchy, Mr. Stafford, but from what I gather, you had a relationship with the defendant's daughter. Is this your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
And the child was born, and you claim that you were told that you were not the child's father. Is that right?
That's correct.
Who told you you were not the child's father?
The social worker at the clinic there, the hospital where she was born.
When were you advised you were not the child's father?
The date of birth, I was present.
Is your name listed on the birth certificate?
No, it isn't.
Is someone else's name listed on the birth certificate?
Yes, after I had hired a lawyer, found out that the defendant's daughter was married. She never told me.
So there is another man's name as the father of the child on the birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor,
Yes.
he's not telling the truth. He knew my daughter was married. We're cousin. And he didn't want it.
Okay. Did you advise the plaintiff that he may not have been the father of this child?
No, he was living with her when she got pregnant.
That doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No, but he knew he was the father. My daughter told him. When he was present at birth, my daughter stated to him to sign the birth certificate.
Ma'am, that's
He
not
wouldn't
true.
put his name on it.
That's
Just a
not
minute.
true.
You weren't there.
No, I wasn't, but
you
my
weren't
daughter
there.
is here. She
You
can
weren't
tell you.
there.
She refused to be there. She didn't want nothing to do with her daughter at the time when she was
What
giving
happened
birth.
when the baby
That's
was
not
born, sir?
true.
Because this is important.
What happened when Vendela was born was that she was placed in a foster home.
No, at the time of her birth.
Yes.
You were in the hospital when she was born.
Yes.
So at that point, you thought you were the child's father.
Yes. I was under the impression that we both were going to take a paternity test. The social worker came back and told me that Deirdre stated that I'm not the father of Vendela. And she said that the father's been named. I said, well, that's...
Don't speak because you weren't there.
My daughter
Don't
was.
speak because you weren't there. And your daughter was on drugs at the time.
No, she wasn't.
This child was born with traces of cocaine in her system?
Negative.
So why was the child placed in foster care?
Because of her past history, which I had no idea to the extent that it is.
You mean past drug history?
Yes.
And that's why the child was removed?
Correct.
You can stand up with your mother if you want to. At what point, sir, were you advised that you were the father of this child?
We took a genetic marker and paternity test.
When?
In 99 of March.
When was your child born?
1/28/98.
Between January 28th of 1998 and March of 1999, had you seen this child?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I didn't have no contact with the mother or the family after being told I wasn't the father.
And it was who that told you you were? Was it the social worker or was it the mother of the child?
The grandmother came into the picture probably 9 months later, subpoenaed me to court for paternity.
In 1998, you were told that someone else's name had been placed on the birth certificate.
Yes, ma'am.
Whose name was on the birth certificate?
It's my husband, which was separated. But he and I were engaged, and I was in the process of getting divorced.
There was no
Just a
engagement.
second.
There was no ring involved. There
Just
was
a
none of
second.
that.
Somebody else's name was placed on the birth certificate at the time the child was born.
Because I was still married, and they have to do that in the state of Massachusetts.
No, she lied.
1998, the defendant summoned you to court. Is that right?
It was fall of 98.
Took the paternity test in March of 99, and the results of that test established that you were the child's father.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you initiate custody proceedings?
It was August 4th of 99 that the adjudication was supposed to have been heard. For some reason, I have no idea. It went on for, I believe, 7 months until I was adjudicated. I have the document here that was signed by both myself, the lawyer, and the defendant, the grandmother who was guaranteed relative of Vendela at the time.
Okay, at the time, the child was ultimately taken out of foster care and placed in the care of her grandmother.
Correct.
You have other children of this daughter, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
How many other children?
2, but I only have 1 now.
Why, is she taking one back?
No, she went to live with the father.
Did the grandmother consent to your having custody of the child?
There was a court hearing. She had no say in it because I was not mentally impaired or no drugs or anything like that.
How's your daughter doing now?
She's doing fine. I'm happy that I have her and that she's out of the environment that she's in. She's doing a lot better than she was.
Okay, when did you take physical custody of the child?
That was March 9th of 2000.
And how much child support were you paying that time?
It was $200 a week.
And when you were ultimately called to court, that was in 99, and they made a paternity order. They made a retroactive order so that you had to pay several $1,000s to the defendant.
Correct.
And you did, in fact, pay that.
Yes, that was satisfied.
How many weeks after you obtained custody of the child did the money continue to come out of your check?
Your Honor, why you look for that? Could I tell you?
Just a minute. Wait a second. I'll get to your side. Okay. I promise you.
A little over a month and a half.
So if you had custody for 7 weeks, that comes to $1,400. Okay, now it's up to you, Miss Daniels. Talk to me.
Okay, back referring to when he said he was supposed to take custody in 1999, it was because he didn't want to have nothing to do with her. We went to court and we signed this paper, and he was supposed to take custody. He made no attempt to get a place to put her, no attempt to help pay for her living expense. He gave me nothing. And then he tell you that he don't know why. It's because he didn't want nothing to do with the baby. That's why he didn't take it in 1999. And I have this paper proving he signed it, and he's supposed to take custody of it. But he didn't because he didn't want to have nothing to do with her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He pretended to be my friend and cared about me, and then we fell in love. He wanted a child. Then I had a drug relapse. I came to him and told him. He left me pregnant.
And later today,
You say he gave you the ring on May 8th. He says he gave it to you on April 1st. And you say that you hadn't seen the ring before.
Yes.
Baloney!
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Christopher Safford says his daughter's maternal grandmother, Linda Daniels, owes for the return of child support.
Listen, your daughter created this problem.
Yes.
And I'm going to explain how your daughter created this problem. She was married to somebody else at the time she gave birth to this child.
True.
Which means, according to her, they must put his name on the birth certificate, that her husband. That's not always true. Doesn't have to put it down if she says he's not the father. He could be legally compelled to support the child until somebody else gets on the hook for support. However, she created this problem because she cannot, well, just pay attention. If this child went on welfare, welfare wouldn't know who to sue for the support. Do you sue the father who's on the birth certificate, or do you sue this man who hasn't been adjudicated the father? I mean, he's had the child now for a considerable period of time. The court would not have given him the child if he was unfit to have the child.
The court didn't give him the child at the time he took her.
We gave her.
Ma'am.
After that.
Ma'am, if I may?
No, you don't have your She's talking to me now.
Go ahead.
Can I speak?
Go ahead.
This situation, this situation is my fault. But with my kids, the reason my kids are there with them, it's because I put them there. I've maintained a job and security, but I was not stable enough. And with him, he came to my family. We're cousins. He told my mom he was going to help me. He pretended to be my friend and cared about me, and then we fell in love, and he knew I was married, and then we got engaged. My mom had problems. She told him to stay away from me. He wanted a child. Then I had a drug relapse because I got clean. I had a drug relapse. I came to him and told him. He left me pregnant. I put myself in the hospital. That's why my baby wasn't born with drugs in her system.
It's not true.
I put my baby in the hospital so she wouldn't be clean.
My daughter,
I put my kids with my mom.
My daughter suffered from bipolar. I told Chris this.
And they took me off
She
all
had
medication.
a drug problem. I told Chris
and that's
that
how
too.
I relapsed.
But he was working with social people. He said the people that had drug problems, that he could help her.
I don't.
He
I
helped
never
her,
worked with people with
yes,
drug problems.
Yes, you did.
No,
listen,
that's what you
I
told
didn't know what
me.
I've done for work.
You told me
listen,
that.
Stop talking to each other. Listen to me. Listen to me. If he had physical custody of this child for a period of 7 weeks, you had no right to receive the support for the child. Whether you had, I don't care whether he took her or not. The court left her with him. She's not.
She had custody. He kidnapped
I don't care.
He took her.
I don't care. The money, listen to me, the money is supposed to go for the support of the child. If he's giving her money, that means he has less money to support the child with. It's not her money, it's the child's money.
I didn't take it for myself.
That was money owed to her.
Ma'am,
No.
She's a kept baby in the state of Massachusetts.
No. Listen to me.
You cannot get welfare with a family kept baby.
Listen to me
And he
very
owed her.
carefully. For the first several months of this child's life, the child was in foster care.
Yes.
2 years she had her with no money.
She didn't
Just
have
a
it for
minute.
2 years.
Then
Yes, I
there
did.
was a lump sum paid. Both parties acknowledged that there was a lump sum paid at
Yes.
the time when he was finally adjudicated the father.
Yes.
It should have went to the state.
No, it shouldn't have.
Several $1,000s. What I'm saying to you is, this money, while the child was in his custody, that you got from his check, should have taken that money and said, here, make sure the baby has this money, because I'm not supposed to have it. It's not supposed to help defray my costs, my rent, my gas, it's supposed to go for the baby. So you owe him $1,400 and pay him. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm upset because my mom,
He is a
my
liar.
mom got, she took care of my kids.
Clearly, all the allegations are not true.
He wouldn't even be a man and take his daughter when we called and told him to please come get her.
As far as me taking care of my daughter, I've been doing that from day one since she gave her up.
He's put my mom through this, and no one's getting hurt but our daughter.
It was clearly money motivated.
I'm not hurt. He's hurting the baby, not me.
It's clearly a mother taking control of her own daughter's life.
He left me pregnant with my baby.
I told you to leave him alone.
People like this need to be exposed.
Plus, he's cousin. You don't mess with your cousin.
When people like this come into court and clog the system up using our tax dollars and make a mockery out of it, that shouldn't be done.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of DeQuilla versus Roden, step forward, please.
20-year-old retail manager John DeQuilla is suing his ex-fiancée, 20-year-old assistant office manager Dawn Roden, for the return of an engagement ring. Dawn says they were never engaged.
Mr. DeQuilla, you are suing for the return of an engagement ring that you claim that you gave to the defendant.
Yes.
Let me hear about it.
Well, Dawn and I were originally together back in September of '99, and we were together until September 17th of 2000. She had gotten married after that, and she was having marital problems around the time of March of 2002, and she came to me. We talked, we were friends for a while. We started seeing each other again March 24th of 2002, and around the time about April 1st, I had proposed to her, and
She was still married at the time?
Yeah, she was. She was going through a divorce.
She wasn't living with her husband?
No, she was not. She was separated. She was living with her grandparents in Lynbrook. I proposed to her. She had accepted. The next day, we had gone to look at rings. We were just going to look, and she eventually talked me into getting an engagement ring. And I purchased the engagement ring and gave it to her that day.
On April 1st?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We were together for about almost 2 months. I was making plans on moving in. I was helping clean up the basement, get everything set up so we can move together. She was going through her custody battle. And I'd say about the second week in May, we'd gotten into a fight. She did throw the ring into my face, and I gave it back to another friend of hers. They called me back about 10 minutes later. They picked me up. We went out. By the end of the night, everything was fine. She had the ring on her finger again, and everything was, we were fine. Not too long afterwards, I had gotten a text message saying, don't take this the wrong way. Don't call me. I'll call you. I need some time to think. I gave her about a day or so. I called her back. She said she wanted to see other people. I said, I'll live with her decision. I just wanted my ring back then. And we made an agreement that on our next class, she was going to give me the ring back.
What kind of class?
It was for financial services that we were doing for our licenses.
You were taking this class together?
Yes. We were business partners at the time. And first time she said that she had forgotten the ring. So I said, just bring it to me on our next meeting. And the day that meeting came, she never came. I called her cell phone. Her friend Janine had picked up the phone, said that Dawn was not there. I got a call later back that night saying that the ring was stolen along with her friend's car.
Where did you get the call from?
Dawn. Dawn called me back later that night.
That the ring was stolen?
Yes.
How was it stolen?
The ring was never stolen, Your Honor. There was no ring. Me and my husband had gotten separated. Me and John did remain friends, and that was around March 16th was the day I had separated from my husband. On May 8th, it was a Wednesday night, me and my friend, we went to the meeting in Lindenhurst where he had another one of his friends with him.
What kind of meeting?
It was the meeting for the financial services. It was one of those meetings. We had went back to his house, and he had to drop his friends off at the mall, so we all met back at his house. He then told me that he was going to hang out with us, and then all of a sudden he was saying that he was tired, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're tired, whatever, go inside. And he was like, oh, okay. He's like, but first, before I go inside, I want to show you something. He took
And what date was this?
This was on May 8th.
Go ahead.
He then proceeded to take a box out and hand me a ring. I said, what is this? He's like, I want to marry you. And I said, how can I marry you when I'm not even divorced yet? I was still very upset that me and my husband were separated. And I then threw the ring at him right after I had made a 911 call because he would not get out of my car. And my friend and I both heard the ring fall off of his chest where it had landed and hit the ground.
That's because you were wearing it later that night, though. That's the odd part.
And after the fact of that, we eventually talked. I hadn't seen him with the ring the rest of the night. And we went to the karaoke bar Backstage, which is located in Woodmere, New York. He then pulled my friend Janine aside, and he had told her everything that happened and how he couldn't find the ring.
Do you have the sales slip for the ring?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please? So you say that he gave you this ring on May 8th.
Yes.
He says he gave you the ring on April 1st.
Yes, and we called
Just
him.
a second.
Okay.
Well, he certainly bought it on April 1st.
May I say one other thing?
Yes.
I have also, we did a financial needs analysis for the company that we do work for, and it is a custom thing to do it. Most engaged or married couples will do it, and we did it. It has both of our names on it, and the date of which this was done, and the ring is one of the debts. Her Social Security number is inside of it, and it's needed through her.
Did you fill out this report with him?
Yes, I did. We were going to become business partners.
I asked you whether you filled this out with him.
Yes.
Because it has your information on it.
Yes.
You know what date you filled it out?
I honestly do not.
May 1st. And you say that you threw a ring back at him that he gave you on May 8th.
Yes.
That you hadn't seen the ring before.
Yes.
Baloney! Madam, this lists the debt on the ring. Current debt, ring, $1,000, and the payment on the ring. You want to explain that to me, Miss Roden?
At the time that I filled it out, he only asked me my information. I was sitting in the other room with his mother and his aunt who was over at the time. The rest of the information he filled out by himself. I was not sitting at the table with him when he filled out that information.
So what? You say he gave you the ring on May 8th. He says he gave it to you on April 1st. So what you're suggesting is that he held on to the ring for 5.5 weeks before he gave it to you, right?
Yes.
And then you filled out this application together showing your income, showing your liabilities and everything else, and you knew nothing about the fact that he put in ring monthly bills.
Exactly.
Did you sign this thing? Did you sign it?
On the back of it, yes, I did. I did not.
Get out of here. I don't care whether you lost it, whether you stole it, you're full of baloney. He paid $1,149.55 for the ring. That's what you owe him. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Parties are excused. You may step out. The count in the matter of Brewer versus West. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Miss Brewer, who is this young lady?
This is my daughter.
I'd like her to wait outside, please.
Okay.
If we need her, we'll call her in.
Come in.
Miss Brewer, there are certain things that are truisms all the time. And one of those is if you mess around with a married man, you're going to get burned. And I gather from your complaint that you've been doing that for a few years with this character. Is that right?
No, ma'am.
According to you, he's married. You've been having an on and off relationship with him for a while.
Not a relationship, no.
What kind of relationship have you had with him over the last few
He
years?
has been calling me over the past 3 years, approximately every 2 to 3 months, telling me that he doesn't want to be with her anymore, that he loves me, he wants to come back to me.
Miss Brewer, don't you understand what I'm saying to you? That's having a relationship with a married man.
Okay.
According to you, sometime in December of last year, you got one of those calls from him.
Yes.
And he wired you some money to come and get him.
Yes.
You got there. You found him with his wife.
Yes.
She kicked and dented your car. You were very upset. His wife told you that it was all a big joke, that he just had you come down there to make her mad. You got back in your car to go home, so almost a 400-mile ride. You were so upset you hit a deer, damaging your car. You want them to be responsible for her kicking your car and him to be responsible for getting you down there under false pretenses, which caused you to be in the car to begin with.
Yes, ma'am. Except she didn't kick my car, she hit it with her fist like this on the hood.
But dented it.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. West says that, no, he never told you to come and get him. And both of them say that you've been harassing them and interfering with their marriage, and they're counterclaiming. So far, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you get married, Mr. West?
July 21st, 2001.
And when did you have a relationship with Miss Brewer?
It ended in October of '99, and 6 years prior, we were together.
Okay, so you were together for a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
You have children together?
No.
Since 1999, have you ever called her?
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
Once was to tell her that I had put their stuff in storage that they left in Oklahoma.
And what year was that?
That was in '99.
Yes?
And a couple more times I had called and talked to the kids to see how they was doing, which are all her kids.
Well, which children do you speak to?
I speak to the 2 girls, Stephanie and Kimmy.
Do you speak to their mother, too?
I have.
When was the last time you called her, sir?
In December of 2002.
On what date?
I do not remember.
Try the 13th.
Yes, ma'am. That sounds correct.
Had you had a fight with your wife that day?
The day before, ma'am.
On the 12th?
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me about the fight that you had with your wife on the 12th, sir.
We had an argument over I thought she was being too friendly with the store clerk.
So you were jealous?
Yes, ma'am.
Shh. Now, prior to the 12th of December, when was the time immediately preceding that you called Miss Brewer?
I'd say a year before.
So a whole year passed.
Yes.
So you have a fight with your wife on the 12th, and on the 13th, where were you staying?
I was over at my mother's house.
Had you slept at your mother's house?
No, ma'am.
Where did you sleep?
At me and my wife's house.
So you're at your mother's house, and you picked up the phone, and you called Miss Brewer.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
To talk to the kids, to see how they were doing.
Don't make a fool of yourself, sir. And don't give me an opportunity to make a fool of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Why did you call Miss Brewer on the 13th?
I told you why.
That's a lie. You're making a fool of yourself. Because if you have a fight with your wife on the 12th and you haven't spoken to Miss Brewer or her children in 1 year, the coincidence that you just have this burning desire to speak to her 2 children the next day while at your mother's house, that's too coincidental to be true. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
So your wife, you thought, was being too cozy with a store clerk, and you were jealous, and that was the reason for the fight. So you figure, I'm going to make her good and jealous, and I'm going to call my old girlfriend, Miss Brewer. That sound more reasonable and more consistent with human experience, Mr. West?
It could be interpreted that way, yes, ma'am.
I knew we'd get around there, Mr. West. So you decided to have a little sport with your wife. And if it happened to hurt Miss Brewer in the bargain, so be it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's the perpetrator, but you have an opportunity to say, don't call me anymore.
And I have, ma'am.
Well, I'm glad you have, because he sure doesn't look like the sharpest tack in the box.
And later today,
How much did you pay for him? 40. You paid 40. You sold him for 175 apiece, right? Shh. Am I correct that this is a whole little scam?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tina Brewer says her ex-boyfriend's wife, Donna West, pounded the hood of her car in a fit of rage. Tina says she was so upset she ran over a deer.
Now, Miss Brewer, we're going to jog his memory of the conversation.
I can tell you every word.
Oh, I'm sure you can.
Yes, I can.
I want you to give me exactly what was said in this conversation. He said, "Hi, it's me." Something like that.
Something like that.
Now let's hear it.
When he called on the 13th, my mother lives with me now, and she answered the phone. I was at work. She called me at work, and she said he will call back at noon. So when I came home for lunch, sure enough, he called back, and he said, "I love you, I miss you, we never argued, we got along great, I believe we're made for each other." And he said, "I want to come be with you. I'm tired of this, I'm tired of Durant, I'm tired of all of it." So I said, "Well, are you sure?" Because he had been telling me this for 3 years.
I'm talking about the 13th of December.
On the 13th of December, he said that, and he said, "I will see what I can do. I'll see if I can get my sister to bring me or something." And I said, "Okay, fine." He said he would call back at 6 o'clock that night.
On the 13th?
On the 13th.
And did he call back at 6 o'clock on the 13th?
No, ma'am, he called at 7. He called at 7, and he said, "They're in Durant. They can't bring me. Could you come get me?" And I said, "Well, it's right before my payday, and I don't have any money." "Well, I can wire you the money." I said, "Okay." So the next morning, on the 14th, he called me approximately 9 or 9:30, and he says, "I'm going to wire you the money for you to come get me." And I do have this right here showing the $40 that he did wire me on that day. And he said, "That's okay."
Miss
He
West,
said,
don't get mad at her, madam.
Oh,
Everything
no.
she's telling me is true.
I know it is.
Okay, every
I'm not
single
mad
thing.
at her.
Good. Don't be upset with her.
No, I'm not. It would be him, not her.
Yeah, I know that.
Go ahead.
Okay. He said, "Don't worry about the trip home. I will be with you. I will keep you safe." I said, "Fine. Pick me up at my mother's house. I've got all my stuff packed. All I'm taking is my clothes and my guitar. I'll be over at my mother's house. Come pick me up over there." I said, "Okay."
So you got in the car, you picked up the money,
Yes,
you drove
ma'am.
400 miles, you get to the mother's house, and what do you find?
I pulled up, and there was a truck, I don't know what kind of Suburban, something like that, and he's standing beside the Suburban in the passenger side. Someone, I don't know who, is sitting in the driver's seat, and he turns around like this, and he looks at me, and he goes, "Okay?" I didn't know what that meant. I said, "What?" She jumps out of the truck and runs as fast as she can towards my car, up by the driver's side, takes her fist like this, hits the hood like this. I backed up. I got out of there. I'm not a violent person, never have been, never will be.
Did you make a dent on?
Yes, ma'am, she did. And I have a
Can I
picture.
see it, please? Donna?
This one up here by the
Donna,
windshield.
darling, don't fib.
I'm not fibbing.
It's the one up by the windshield,
I did not
ma'am.
touch her car.
Yes, you did.
No, I
Yes,
did not.
she did.
Sure you
No,
did.
I did not. I never got out of the truck.
Oh, that's some bad. Oh, this is from the deer.
Yes, ma'am. It's
that's
the
from the
top
deer.
on the hood up by the
I
windshield.
did not touch her car.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, then You turned around.
Then I backed up and I left Laura.
And then you hit a deer on the way home.
I went to my son's house because he lives there in Durant, and I was very upset. I was shaking and everything, and I was thinking, what in the world? You know, she's there. She's not going to let him go because, well, I won't say. But anyway, I called my mother back in Texas, and I told her, that number that's on the caller ID, I think that's Byron's cell phone number. Will you give it to me? She said yes. I wrote it down. I called, she answered, and started cussing at me, something violently. I hung up. My son said, Mom, call her and talk to her. Tell her what he has been doing to you all this time, because my children have watched me suffer for 3 years through this.
Listen to me. You can only suffer if you allow yourself to be a victim.
Exactly, but I did.
You did. That's...
I admit that.
He's the perpetrator, but you have an opportunity to say, don't call me anymore.
And
I don't want to
have.
hear you anymore.
And I have, ma'am.
Well, I'm glad you have, because he sure doesn't look like the sharpest tap in the box. I mean, I don't know what all you women are fighting over.
But anyway, when I called back, I told Donna everything. I said, you know, all this has happened. She told me, I'll try to use nice language. She told me if I would meet her someplace, she would kick my... I told her I was not violent like her. I didn't settle matters like that, and I wasn't going to meet her. She said that Byron told her it was all a big joke. He wanted her to be mad at him, I suppose, from the fight before.
I got you.
Didn't
I got you. You didn't understand why. I understand why, because she was very nice to the store clerk. That really made him angry.
Yes.
I don't even want you to say anything. You're going to tell me that you never put your hand on her car.
No, I didn't.
Good. Now I heard you. Now I heard you. That's nice. Now let's get to you. You have anything to say for yourself?
Yes.
Like what?
Well, the $40 that I did wire transfer her and that I did tell my wife about, she said that she was wanting to come to Oklahoma to visit her son and new grandbaby. And that she had enough money to get down here, but did not have enough to get back. And if I was going to go with her anyway, why would I mail her money to come down here and back on? And when she came down here, and I'd been telling her for years not to harass my family. I'd talked to her and talked to them, but she went to my mom after she had quadruple bypass and tried to find out where me and Donna live. She has left dirty
Listen
notes.
to me. She did all of that before December 13th?
Yes, ma'am.
Then what'd you call her for on December 13th,
I guess
sir?
I still had feelings about the kids.
Do I have to be? Do I have to be?
No, I'm just trying to get down these lyrics because this makes a great country western song.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
You did something wrong by buying black market tickets. She did something wrong by buying black market tickets. You screw a little bit, she screws a little bit, and then you come into court and say, please help me because I was screwed more than her.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tina Brewer says her ex-boyfriend's wife, Donna West, pounded the hood of her car in a fit of rage. Tina says she was so upset she ran over a deer.
Mr. West, do you have any children?
No, ma'am.
Don't. Mr. West, under ordinary circumstances, I would tell Miss Brewer that really she didn't have a claim against you for the most serious damage that was caused by the deer,
Yes, ma'am.
which she hit on the way going home, because your actions were too far removed from hitting this deer in the road. However, under the circumstances, I find that but for your actions in putting her in a position where she had to travel 800 miles round trip in a 24-hour period, 400 miles to you, based upon your lies, and 400 miles back, you could have anticipated that when she arrived there and found out that this was all your way of getting even with your wife for flirting with the store clerk, that it would have been a very stressful time for her.
Yes, ma'am.
And therefore, when she turned around to go home, she was agitated and stressed and had an accident with the car. And I find that your actions were the proximate cause of that near disaster with her car. You were an unkind, uncaring, selfish, self-centered fool who acted like a teenager when his wife was cozying up to somebody, probably taller than you are, and you didn't like it. So you decided to make her a little jealous. And the only one that you had to make a jealous switch with somebody that you knew you could get there in a heartbeat. Not only are you all the aforementioned things, but you're also a cruel person who's going to pay $1,900 to have a car fixed, and your counterclaim is dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. Step out.
He has strung me along for over 3 years,
I love my wife. She knows that.
telling me how much he loved me, even calling my kids and telling them that he loved me.
She's trying to break me and my wife up so she can have another shot at me.
I'm done with him. I'm done with her. I'm done with them all.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Batiste versus Franquitos. Step forward, please.
Sports attire salesman Edgar Batiste is suing former friend, 24-year-old bartender Alicia Franquito, for selling him bogus airline tickets.
Mr. Batiste,
Good evening, Your Honor.
according to your complaint, sir, you purchased some Buddy airline tickets from the defendant. I don't know what these are. You're going to explain that to me. And according to you, you didn't get what you paid for. You want your money back. Defendant says you don't get your money back. This was a final sale. So first, you want to tell me what a Buddy ticket is, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. I purchased 3 Buddy passes from Alicia Franquito.
Could you keep your voice up? I want you to tell me what they are. I've just told you. They're Buddy passes.
Yes.
What are they?
They're airline travel tickets.
I never heard of that. Can I see what they look like?
Can I explain it to you?
Sure.
Basically, if someone works for an airline, they can give free tickets to people, and I had bought them from a friend who knows the person who works for the airline.
Just a minute. So the airline give to their employees free tickets.
Yes.
That they can use like a companion ticket?
Yes.
So that the airline employee can take a companion with them to go someplace.
Or they can just give them away to people to use.
But they're not supposed to sell them.
Right.
They're not supposed to sell them.
Exactly.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. Batiste, well, it says right here that this can't be sold, right? Did you read that?
No, I didn't at the time, Your Honor. I didn't.
Well, you knew it couldn't be sold or bought. You know that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
In any event, the reason you want your money back is because they told you that you had to pay a certain amount of money in addition to these tickets to
Yes,
travel?
ma'am.
And the person you sold them to, you sold them to somebody else.
Some friends were supposed to travel.
You sold them to somebody else.
Yes, ma'am.
And the person you sold them to said, I want my money back, because it says that I had to give them more money to use these tickets, according to your complaint. And now you want your money back from her.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
she should get her money back from the person she bought them from. Right?
Yes.
So am I correct that this is a whole little scam? Somebody who works for the airlines gets free tickets, and then they start selling them. How much did you pay for them?
40.
You paid 40. You sold them to him for 175 apiece, right? Shh. And how much did you sell them for?
My friends paid me $175 each, Your Honor.
So you were even.
And I paid her. Yes, ma'am.
Give those back to him, please. Okay?
Okay.
Good. Mr. Batiste, I'm going to tell you what the law is, what we call the doctrine of clean hands. That means that when you come into a court of law and ask a court to give you justice, you have to come in with clean hands, not having done anything wrong with regard to the particular events surrounding the case. You did something wrong. So did she. You did something wrong by buying black market tickets. She did something wrong by buying black market tickets. So do you know what courts say to folks like you?
Maya versus Burt. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Weaver, this case is a little complicated, so let me see if I can untangle it. You had a 1989 van that you decided to sell, and I assume you put a sign out in the van?
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant, who you didn't know, saw the sign and decided to buy the van. He gave you a deposit. There is some discrepancy as to the amount of the deposit, but he gave you a deposit. He was supposed to come back and pay the rest.
Right.
According to you, he did not come back on the day he was supposed to come back, so the next day you sold the van to somebody else.
Yes.
When he did come back for the van, you told him, I'm sorry, you didn't come back when you were supposed to, so I sold it to somebody else. The defendant said, okay, give me my deposit back.
Right.
You said it was a non-refundable deposit. Then there were several things that happened. He says you told him you'd give him some money when you got a check, and he came back a couple of times to try to get the money. In any event, you claim that he had you falsely arrested for terrorizing him.
Yes.
And you want to be compensated for that false arrest.
Yes.
Mr. Burt is counterclaiming. He wants his deposit back, and he wants damage to his car because he said when he tried to pursue you for the return of his deposit, you did in fact threaten him, and you threw a brick at his car, damaging his car, and he's counterclaiming. So, Mr. Weaver, tell me when Mr. Burt approached you. He came to your house?
Yes.
What date?
It was July 17th when he came to my house. I heard a doorbell ring, went to the door. Excuse me.
I ask questions. You read July 17th is your answer.
Yes.
How much were you asking for the van?
I wanted $1,000 for it.
Did you write up an agreement with him?
Yes, we did.
Do you have a copy of the agreement?
No, I gave it to him because it was like a receipt.
Can I see the receipt, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I want the original receipt.
Well, ma'am, what happened to the original, my wife had washed my pants and they got destroyed and I had to make a copy of it.
You say the price was $2,000, Mr. Burt.
Actually,
I want you to make very, very certain, Mr. Burt, that we understand each other absolutely 100% right. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
How much of a deposit did you give him?
I gave him a $1,200 deposit, ma'am.
Show me proof that you had $1,200 with you and where you got the money from. Because
Okay.
he says you gave him a $100 deposit. There's a big difference. He says you're selling the car for $1,000. You say $2,000. You say you gave him a $1,200 deposit. He says you gave him.
No, actually, I asked him for a $100 deposit. He brought back $200.
Show me where you took $1,200 from, Mr. Burt.
Yeah, I'm a carpet cleaning business owner.
You're what?
Carpet cleaning business owner. I own a carpet cleaning business called Priority One. What happened was, me and my wife went home. I got the $1,200.
From where?
From my house. What happened, I didn't have it in the bank because I had a discrepancy with bank, and I had to withdraw all my money out of the bank. And that basically came through a settlement that I had received.
Burt, you think that you can get me the Blue Book value of a 1989 Astro van with 200,000 miles?
Sure.
Good. Thank you. Now, sir, he gave you, according to you, $200, and he was supposed to come back when?
On July 27th, he never called, never showed up.
On the 27th?
On the 27th, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what happened on the 28th? Who'd you sell it to?
On the 28th, I waited all day for him to call, left a note on my door even, which he had stated to me after he came 2 weeks later, after the 28th, that he had saw the note and never called me anyway, because he said his wife was in a hospital. Sorry.
When did you sell the car, the 28th?
The night of the 28th. What I did
To
was...
whom?
His name was Guy.
And you have all of his information, is
Yes,
that
I
right?
have the canceled check and the
And what's
receipt.
the canceled check? You see, you can step up. Burt isn't here. Step up.
I'm sorry. This is the receipt we wrote up the day of 28th.
Good.
That's the
Step
canceled
back.
check. Thank you.
All right, so this is my question. So 2 weeks later, Mr. Burt comes back and says, where's my car? And you said, I don't have the car, and he wants his deposit back.
Right.
Clearly, based upon the evidence that you've just given me, sir, you sold the car for more money to this other person
Yes.
than you did to
The reason
Mr.
why...
than you did to Mr. Burt. So you were not out any money. Why didn't you give him back his $200?
Because when he had first come to my house, I said I needed the money for my mortgage because I was out of work because of my knee, and I needed the money by the 27th. I said it was a non-refundable deposit if you did not show up.
Come on. It's not in your contract.
I know I should have written it, but it was
It's not there. And if you write up a contract and it's not there, I mean, not that I'm saying this might not have been altered to alter the money, because I think that that's a possibility. Because clearly I believe that you sold the van for $1,100. So why would you sell it to him for $2,000 and then sell it to somebody else for half that? You have a price there for me?
Trade-in fair is $900, Judge.
Okay. Fine. So no way, Mr. Burt, do I believe that you paid $2,000 for this van.
No, Your
Do you
Honor, I didn't.
Do you understand that you agreed to pay $2,000 for this van?
Yes,
No
I did.
way. Okay, because you're a businessman. And a businessman doesn't pay twice as much for something that it's worth and it's listed in that book for. So this, sir, that you handed to me, you altered.
No.
Oh, yes, you did. Yeah, you did. $2,000. Deposit $1,200. That's what you wrote here. So somebody wrote in a 1 in front of the 2 and changed the 1 to a 2. Somebody did that. Maybe it was the used car ferry or something. I don't know. Somebody did it, if not you. So don't try to pull one over on me, Mr. Burt. He should have given you your deposit back. But don't try to make money off this thing. We understand each other, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He says, get off my property harassing me, or I'm going to blow your head off. Got me in the...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rick Weaver says he was arrested when Stephen Burt filed a false report with the police. Stephen says Rick threatened him and then threw a brick at his car.
Now, he came to your house a couple of times for the money. Is that right?
Yes. The first time he came, I had told him it was non-refundable, and he left. He said he's going to sue me. I said, fine, do what you got to do. He came back again, and in good faith, I said, listen, I said, in good faith, we had a verbal agreement about the deposit. Said it was non-refundable. It was verbal. I said, in good faith, I'll give you half of it back when I get my disability check. He agreed to that. He said that was fine, and I told him to come back, you know, in about a month I'd have it. So he showed up 2 weeks later, and that's when all this other stuff occurred.
Well, tell me about all the other stuff, sir.
Me and my fiance were pulling up in my driveway. He pulled up behind us. We were walking up to my door, and he said, I need to get all your information. I said, what do you mean information? He said, for information to sue you. I said, you have my information. You have my, you know where I live. You know my name. I said, you have all my information. There's nothing. I said, you get off my property, or I'm calling the cops because you're harassing me about this $100. And he left.
Why? It's not 100. It's 200.
Yeah, I know, but we had agreed on 100.
You didn't give him the 100.
No, because I didn't have my disability check yet.
You got the money from the car,
right,
sir.
That paid my mortgage.
That's not his problem.
I know.
And I believe that you threatened him, because that's what he's going to tell me. Is that right, Mr. Burt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, I've already caught you in one lie, so let's not do it again. I want you to tell me exactly what happened the second time you went to his house and said to him, give me your information. Do you understand, Mr. Burt? I don't want you to fabricate anymore.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
I went to Mr. Weaver's house. I seen him and his girlfriend pull in the driveway. I pulled behind him. Mr. Weaver came over to me. He says, I told you when I get my disability, I was going to give you the $100. I said, well, we need to let a judge decide what to do in this case, because I shouldn't keep coming to you for a deposit that
You're
you owe me.
You're absolutely right.
I said, and the reason I'm here is just to get your complete address and a telephone number so they can contact you.
Okay.
He stormed away from me. He went in the house. He came out, slammed open the screen door. He was pointing an object at me. I couldn't see what it was, but he says, get off my property, harassing me, or I'm going to blow your effing head off. He caught me in. I got in my car. He came off the step. He threw a brick, and he did damage to my car, doing over $800, Your Honor. And I have pictures of the damage.
Well, let me
I
see.
also have a...
and I want to see the police report.
I don't have the police report with me. I
Why
just
not?
have... The only thing that I received was a complaint from Mr. Weaver. They never gave me a police report where I filed on him.
When did you file?
I filed the same day.
Where?
At Clementon Police Department.
So you left his house and went right to the police department?
Yes, ma'am, after he threw the brick.
Okay, when were you arrested, sir?
The next day, me and my fiance and her 12-year-old daughter were pulling up my driveway. Chief pulled in. I've known for years. He said, Rick, I have to arrest you. Someone said you threatened him with a gun. I said, you know me better than that. I said, I hate guns. I don't even let my kids play with plastic guns.
It's not true, Your Honor.
Shh, quiet.
And he said, well, I have to do my job. It's coming from Camden Superior Court, and I have to do my job. So they arrested me, took me down, fingerprinted me. I got arrested in front of my 12-year-old future stepdaughter, which was very embarrassing and degrading. They took me down in front of all my friends who were police officers. I'm friends with everybody in the town. Arrested me, fingerprinted me, photoed me. I had to go in a van, ride around in a van, a county van. They put me in a holding cell for 22 hours with 18 guys. The one was the guy that was laying next to me on the floor was defecating in.
I don't care. Don't go into it. Listen to me. Your goal could have been avoided if you gave him his $200. Right? All could have been avoided if you gave him his $200. Now, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you throw a brick at his car?
No, ma'am.
No, I don't believe you did.
No, ma'am.
I don't believe you did, but I do believe you threatened him.
No, I did not.
Oh, yes, that I believe. I believe that you told him to get off or you're going to blow whatever. That I believe you did. You see what happens when you lie once, Mr. Burt? When you lie once, like this, and you hand this kind of stuff to me, then I find suspect other things that you say when it's not consistent. What is consistent is that he got annoyed with you coming around, that when you came back and you were very polite, you said to him, I need all your information. I need your full address. You had his address. All you had to do was look up at the number on the house and you see his address. You wanted a phone number. Do you need a phone number? I'm not sure you do, but you wanted his phone number. I can understand him not wanting to give you the phone number because maybe he was afraid that you'd keep calling to harass him. But I do believe he threatened you. Don't believe this, don't believe this. So I believe you have the right to go and say he threatened me. If they followed through with that, I assume you told them the whole story, then you have no case. Now, you have a counterclaim for the return of your deposit and the damage to your car. He's suing you for $3,000 for intentional infliction of emotional distress for the time he spent in jail and being arrested, all of which came about because he didn't do the right thing. He, in effect, stole your money. You understand that? You stole his money. He gave you $200. You refused to give it back. He was very patient. You were treating him like a fool. And that's what happened to you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rick Weaver says he was arrested when Stephen Burt filed a false report with the police. Stephen says Rick threatened him and then threw a brick at his car.
You shouldn't have been a pig, which you were. You said, not only am I going to get $1,100 from this guy, I'm going to get another $200. It's $1,300 for the van. And the van is, according to you, got 200,000 miles, all banged up, not worth much, 13 years old, right?
Right.
So here I got top dollar for this van. So you spent 2 days in jail because you were a pig. As far as you're concerned, sir, you're suing him for $2,085.12, damage to your car, which I don't believe, and return of the van deposit, which you say is $800, which I also don't believe. $200. So you get $200, you get $200, you both get nothing. Goodbye.
Excuse, you may step out.
I think he should have handled it more like a man.
He pleaded his case. I had to pay $7,500 cash bail, and I spent 2 days
And
in
the
jail.
prosecutor in Camden ended up throwing it out anyway because it was
all the
based on a
cases were thrown
lie.
out because he lied on them.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Barker versus Laughlin. Step forward, please.
25-year-old occupational therapist Carla Barker is suing her ex-fiancé, heavy equipment operator Donald Laughlin, for the return of a waterbed mattress and 2 jackets.
Miss Barker, you and the defendant had been engaged for a period of time well over a year ago.
Correct.
According to your complaint, you broke up in September of 2001. You moved out. The defendant owes you for some furniture and 2 jackets.
That is correct.
Fine. Those are the 2 jackets.
Yes,
Bird,
ma'am.
would you transfer the 2 jackets to her? He says you can take back the 2 jackets and I don't owe you a dime. Is that right, sir?
Exactly.
Great.
So, Miss Barker, you can tell me now. Now you have your 2 jackets back.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you lived in the same residence, sir, in the same city for the last year and a half?
Yes, ma'am. I've lived there for 6 years.
Worked at the same job?
Yes, ma'am.
So are you Rip Van Winkle? Where have you been for the last year and a half if you claim he owes you money?
I haven't been not dealing with this. For the last 6 months, I have been trying to work with Donald through an attorney that I had acquired to resolve these matters.
When you moved out in September of 2001, what property did you take with you?
I took a love seat, a papasan chair I had. I took another queen-size bed that I had possession of. I had 2 dressers. I had a cedar chest.
Now, what is it that you claim that he has that belongs to you?
He has a mattress, a replacement waterbed mattress. What it is an actual mattress.
A replacement waterbed mattress?
Yes.
What does that mean?
The waterbed had a bag in it that you filled with water. However, I was having difficulty sleeping on that. It was hurting my back. So I purchased basically a regular mattress that had pads on both sides. And it was a regular mattress that fits into the frame of the waterbed.
What else do you want?
There was a computer desk that was purchased. That I had purchased.
So why didn't you take it with you?
Well, at the time, it was too big and it was put together. It would have had to have been dismantled to be taken apart and for me to take. That would have required time, which he was not willing to give me.
So now you decided you wanted it?
Well, yes, when I was...
Well, I'm sorry you don't get it.
But, ma'am, I believe that he is in possession of it. I purchased it.
I don't care whether
and
you
if it is in his possession, that he owes me the money for that.
No, he doesn't.
Can I ask why?
Yeah, you can. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
There are no courts for people who live together. Clearly, when you separated, he had no problem with you taking a whole bunch of stuff out of the apartment. Because I read your complaint. I read your complaint, and I read his answer. He had no trouble. You left, and you said, you take this stuff, you want to take this stuff, you take it, the rest of the stuff, you leave here. You couldn't take this big bandura with you. You had no place to put it, so you said, the hell with it, I'll leave it there. As far as the bed is concerned, you had him get rid of his waterbed because you had a pain in your back. He got rid of his waterbed. You put another mattress there. Now you want the mattress back?
Yes, ma'am, I do, because
you
he is
can't
still in
have it.
possession of the bag that went in the first place.
You can't have it back. Because if
Then
you
I
wanted
believe-
any of these things back, a week after you moved out, and a week after you moved out, if you had gone to him and said, now I want these things because I believe they're mine, then you litigate it.
Ma'am,
You
we
don't
have
come
been
into
dealing
court a
with
year and a
this
half
for-
later and say, well, now I have a house that's big enough.
Ma'am, I
When should
haven't
it be?
moved either. My place of residence is still the same.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because it's not the fact that I can fit it, it's the fact that I want him, and I believe that he owes me for that.
He's
And
not
we've-
giving you a penny.
I have been dealing with
He's
an
not
attorney
giving
for
you
6 months.
a penny. The day after you move out, you resolve all issues. He lets you take a whole bunch of stuff with you. And all of a sudden, you wake up 8 months later and say,
Has been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Bird, you are going to love this case. Because I read the complaint and the answer, and I found the facts, as presented by you two young ladies, to be fascinating. How are you related to her?
I'm her mother.
Why don't you have a seat for a minute, please? How old are you?
17.
Your mother's close enough, right?
Mhm.
You don't feel threatened by me in any way, do you?
No, ma'am.
That's a big mistake. How old are you?
I'm 18.
And this is your?
Mother.
According to your complaint, Miss Willis, the defendant is a friend of yours.
An ex-friend, yes.
Well, she was a very
No,
good
friend.
friend of yours. And somehow she gave you a couple of checks that she asked you to cash for her.
Right.
You went into the bank, you cashed the checks for her. According to you, you gave her the money with the exception of $50
Right,
that she had owed you from previously. And then you were notified that these were stolen checks by your bank, and your account was charged for the money, and you want her to pay you back.
I do.
Now, I couldn't quite get everything that you were saying, Miss Thorpe, but according to you, you had stolen the checks, but she stole them from you. 2 checks. And you have no idea what she did with those checks. Is that right?
That's right.
So why don't we start with a story like once upon a time. Once upon a time, I was driving in the car with my friend.
Well, no.
Then just tell me.
Okay.
Let's go. Once upon a time.
Okay, once upon a time, last May 23rd, we were at our graduation practice. She asked me if I could cash a couple checks for her, saying she did not have her ID, and I asked her if she had a bank account she could cash them out. She said she didn't. So, you know, she's a friend of mine. I did it.
When did she give you the checks?
When we were at the bank.
How did you get to the bank?
I drove.
And how did she get to the bank?
She drove.
So you park your car at the bank. We're going to follow this. You know, we're once upon a time. Now, we're once upon a time. You've gone from graduation into the car. She follows you to your bank. You park your car. She parks her car. And you walked up to her car.
I walked up to her car to get the checks. I sat down in her car. Then I went inside. And
So she handed you the 2 checks.
Right.
What did they say?
I didn't pay a lot of attention to what the checks looked like, to be quite honest. I did ask her where they're from, what they were for. She told me that they were back child support from her boyfriend's ex-wife.
At any time previous to going to the bank, did you discuss with her how much the checks were for?
I think I asked her when we got there. They're for $47 each, and I looked.
When you looked at the checks, was that the first time you saw what the amount was?
I don't remember whether I asked her at the graduation practice how much they were.
Well, you're not a stupid person, are you?
No, I'm not stupid. I honestly just
You're not a
don't
stupid
remember.
person because you have a bank account. How much money did you have in your bank account?
At the time, I had $603, and I
So
have
if somebody
my
had
bank statement
asked
here.
you to cash checks for them in the amount of $2,000, you couldn't have done that, right?
Right, right.
So you had to have asked, well, how much are the checks for?
I don't remember. I was very naive. I didn't, at that point, I did
don't
not
look
know that you had
naive.
to have that much amount in your bank.
Did you
to
hear what
cash
I
them.
said? You
Yeah.
don't look naive.
I don't look now, but I've learned a lot since then. I have.
You mean in the few short months you've learned a whole bunch?
Just about this, about cashing checks, about banks.
Where did you get your money from to put in the bank?
From my job.
What kind of job?
I worked at an ice cream parlor.
So you knew enough to open up a bank account? Did you open it up by yourself or with your
my
mother?
dad, I've had it since I was 13 years old.
Great.
My
So you
dad
know how
got
to
it
go
for me.
in there?
Right.
So you know how to make deposits? Did you ever withdraw any money from the bank?
I did. Yeah.
Make out a withdrawal slip.
Well, no.
You don't live on Mars.
I didn't. I never used a withdrawal slip at my bank. It was a savings account. All I did was give them my social security number, ask for the amount, and I had to sign.
So what were these two checks made out for?
$447.50 each. And the reason I believed her about the child support is prior to this, a month before, she told me she was expecting a check for about $500, and she told me that is what she was going to pay me my $50 back for.
You have a
This was
child?
the beginning of May.
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Well, what are these 447?
I have
And
copies
shh.
of the... I'm sorry.
What is this 447 child support? What is that about?
Your Honor, I have no idea.
No idea. You have a boyfriend who gets child support?
I do have a boyfriend, yes.
Does he get child support?
Yes, he does.
Why does he get child support?
Because him and his wife were separated.
How old is he?
32.
And he has a child that he has custody of?
Yes.
And how old are you?
17.
Who is this?
This is
I'm
my
the boyfriend.
You're the boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
How long has this been your girlfriend?
Just over a year.
Just over a year. You don't think she's a little young for you, do you?
I didn't plan it that way, Your Honor.
How much do you get in child support from your ex-wife?
About $50 a week. I have custody of both of my children.
$50 a week for each child?
No, ma'am.
Both?
Yes,
For both children? You get that by the month?
I get weekly. I get it weekly if she put.
Let me see a copy of the checks.
And it's usually in cash.
Your Honor, Eric was the person that the checks were stolen from. I was convicted and charged for checks
No,
already.
you were charged and convicted.
Charged and convicted for 3 checks prior. I had stole them. I went down to the police station.
Where did you steal them from?
I stole them from Eric.
Who is he?
An old friend.
Of whose?
Of mine and my mother's.
How did you get his checks?
I went over there one day and I found them laying outside next to his truck, like they had fallen out of his truck, and I picked them up.
Why?
Stupidity.
And what'd you do after you picked them up?
I had gone and cashed a few checks, and
How many did you cash?
I was charged with 3 of them.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tiffany, that's her, you know, with the belly button showing, advised that Stephanie wanted $50 to cash them, and she was given that amount.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stephanie Willis says former friend Tiffany Thorpe owes for 2 checks she cashed on her behalf. Stephanie says the checks turned out to be stolen.
You walked into the bank, Miss Willis.
Right.
And you see these checks that are made out for $447.50.
Right.
They're not made out to anybody.
No, they were not made out to anybody. At the time, I was having a conversation with the teller at my bank. I was in a hurry to get somewhere, but I asked him. I got up, going out to ask Tiffany to sign them and ask why they were not made out to anybody. I turned around at that point and asked him if it would be all right if I did it myself, or
Why?
if it would matter, because I was in a hurry to get to see someone.
You
that
know, I don't
see
believe you
often.
either.
Huh?
I don't believe you either. I don't believe her. I don't believe you.
Okay.
Miss Willis, you want to know why it doesn't sound right to me?
Yes.
She says, could you cash these checks for me? They're being given to my boyfriend from his ex-wife for child support. Then they would have been made out to him. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. Especially if you tell me that his name, Eric, is written on the bottom of the check. Did you write his name too?
No, I did not. Tiffany
So that
did.
was there.
Right.
Who wrote that?
Tiffany did.
Did you see that?
I did not, but I know her handwriting. I've known her for 4.5 years. And I
So you
her
know that this
handwriting.
is her handwriting?
Yes.
So now you know the following.
Look at the dotted
now
I.
you know the following. You know that she forged his name.
Right.
And you knew that when you were at the bank.
No.
Oh, yeah, you
No.
knew her
Not
4
at the
years at
bank.
that
I'm
point.
I'm sorry. Not at the bank. I was not aware of that. At
Why
the
not?
bank, I assumed I did not know the circumstances following the checks, and I assumed that she had gotten it from a friend of hers or perhaps her lover. I did not ask, and I was not sure. But at this point, I knew Tiffany, and we were very good friends for 4.5 years. I had no reason not to believe her.
I'll hear you.
Well, on that day, we did go for my graduation practice, and we were sitting there, and Stephanie was sitting in the car, and I had the checkbook sitting there in the council, and she had asked me what it was, and I had told her that they were stolen checks.
And then we went to the gas station.
When you say she asked you what they were and you said they were stolen checks, are you telling me that she didn't say, where did you steal them from? Whose are they? Nothing.
No, Your Honor.
She asked you nothing?
No. She just asked me what they were.
And you said stolen checks?
Yes, I told her.
Go
They were
ahead.
Stolen checks. We went to the gas station about 2 blocks away so I can get gas. And then I went inside to pay, and when I came back out, she told me that she needed to be dropped back off at her car. So I dropped her back off at the car and I went home. And about a week later, she came knocking on my boyfriend's door and was talking to him about some sort of checks.
Step up.
Well, Your Honor.
Name.
My name is Timothy S. Brown.
Tell me about the conversation that you had with the plaintiff.
In May of 2000, Stephanie had stopped at my house on 3 different occasions. The first occasion, she came in my home and told me that she had gotten some checks from Tiffany that were stolen. This is the time I just found out about the whole stolen check situation. We were only dating for a couple months at the time. She told me that she had gotten some checks from Tiffany and deposited them in her account, and that she said that Tiffany said they were for child support. I knew at that time that something was wrong because I get cash from my ex-wife.
Did you tell her that?
Yes, I did.
And what was her reaction?
Oh, she said that she got the checks from Tiffany, and that Tiffany said they were for child support. And
Was she crying?
No, she was upset.
Was she
You know,
upset?
she was kind of scared because she told me that her mother, her parents were involved in the bank account somehow, and she wanted to get it taken care of before her parents found out about it.
So that was the first time she came
Right.
to your house. And then?
I talked to Tiffany about it. At this time, Tiffany was denying the whole thing to me because she didn't want me to find out about it.
So Tiffany lied?
She lied to me about it, yeah.
And then she lied to her mother, too?
At the time, yes.
She lied.
You know.
Now, when she lied, did you believe her?
No, I was really skeptical about the whole thing, you know, from the start.
So initially, when she told you that she didn't know what this friend was talking
Right.
about,
I had my suspicions. I had contacted her mother to talk about the situation, to find out if she knew anything about it.
and her mother said?
No, she didn't, and, you know, reassured me that her daughter wouldn't do anything like that.
Okay. Step up a second. Sure. When your daughter told you what happened, she initially told you she didn't know what she was talking about. Is that right?
Well, when Stephanie came to me, and Stephanie told me a story that Tiffany gave her 2 checks and that they were for babysitting that Tiffany had done for somebody, and that she cashed those checks for Tiffany. But she didn't say anything about child support to me. She said that it was babysitting money. That's what Tiffany had told her.
Is that right?
So,
I don't remember telling her that.
Your Honor, we have in a police report statement here, it's the statement that Tiffany had made to the police.
Let me say it. You told the police that you gave her 2 checks, madam. You told the police that you gave her 2 checks to cash.
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Your name is Tiffany, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Tiffany advised that she had given 2 checks to a Stephanie Willis for her to cash. You mean the police made a mistake?
When I went and confessed to the police officers that I had taken the checks from Eric, they had asked me, but Stephanie's checks were not in the bunch because the checks had never cleared his bank.
I'm asking you a question. The police wrote this down. Tiffany advised that she had given 2 checks to Stephanie Willis for her to cash. Is what you're telling me that the police either mistakenly wrote this down or that you lied to the police?
I told the police officers that I had not given Stephanie any checks.
So that, according to you, the police officers wrote it down wrong. Put your hand down. The police officers wrote it down wrong.
Obviously, yes, Your Honor.
Listen to this, Bird. You have to listen to this. This officer who took this report from this 17-year-old psychopath must have been doing something that day to make himself feel happy, because he too is writing a once-upon-a-time story, according to her. Let me tell you what else he wrote. Reporting officer asked Tiffany about the 2 checks that she gave to Stephanie Willis. Tiffany advised that the 2 checks were for $447.50 each. Tiffany, that's her, you know, with the belly button showing. Tiffany advised that she filled out the checks but left the pay to blank. Tiffany advised that she had Stephanie put her name in the blank. Tiffany advised that Stephanie cashed the checks and gave her the money. Tiffany misexposed belly button, advised that Stephanie wanted $50 to cash them, and she was given that amount.
But the $50, which...
Shut!
Okay.
Is she getting therapy? Is she in therapy and counseling?
After all this happened, I had 3 counselors involved, as a matter of fact.
Does she live at home with you?
Yes, she does now.
And what about him?
Well, actually, let me tell you the whole story.
Dying to hear this story. I thought this was easy.
Actually, I was very much against this relationship because of
That's
the
a very
great
good
age
thing.
difference. And at one point, I even got the authorities involved. I called social services, got a counselor involved, and I tried everything in my power to keep them apart. The only thing that accomplished is put a wedge between my daughter and my relationship. So I decided the worst thing I could have done was to try to interfere with that relationship. And so I choose not to any longer interfere with it at all.
Okay. Now, but she's living at home?
Yes.
What about him?
He is staying there temporarily
At
with
your
his
house?
2 children, yes, actually.
You know, there's one thing about not interfering, and there's another thing, and, you know, she's 17 years old.
Right.
I don't believe her mother is responsible for this $950.
Correct.
And since she's 17 years old, I cannot find her libel. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? The only way that I can find her libel is if I make her mother responsible. She is, I believe you. I believe that you got suckered in by her. And I believe that she is a liar. I believe that she continues to lie. I believe that she's probably in a relationship that she shouldn't be in. I believe that her mother is caught between a rock and a hard place. But I think that her mother being caught in a rock and a hard place does not put her mother in a position where she is responsible for the forgery and the theft by her daughter to you. Because I, too, believe that you have had a certain responsibility, and that was to be a little more vigilant. Not put your name on these checks when it was clear that they couldn't have been for child support, because child support checks would have been made out to him for the 2 children, not
I had
blank.
no experience with that.
Not
the story
blank.
she gave me, I had no reason.
Well, you
not
should
to
have been more
trust her.
vigilant.
I
Certainly,
should
her
have.
mother could. Certainly, her mother could not have known.
Right.
And in order for me to find in your favor against this side of the table, I have to rule that her mother is responsible for paying you back, and I cannot, in good conscience, do that.
Neither could I.
I can't hold her responsible. She's 17. I mean, I wish I could, but I can't. So you're going to have to cover these checks yourself and be a little more vigilant. I feel sorry for you. I really do. I really don't know what I would do in your situation.
It's a difficult situation. I didn't know what else to do either.
Now, this is case number 121 on the calendar in the matter of Wells versus Smith. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mrs. Wells, is this your daughter?
Yes.
Your first name is?
Connie.
Connie, you were one of a twin.
Yes, I was.
And your twin sister died.
Yes.
What was her name?
Carolyn.
When did she pass?
April the 16th.
Mr. Smith, you lived with Carolyn for 17 years.
Yes, I did.
You never married.
No, we didn't.
Is there any reason that you never married?
Yes, we discussed getting married, but for various reasons, mainly monetary reasons, we kept putting it off.
She had a kidney condition?
She was a diabetic. Okay. She had kidney failure.
And she died without a will. And the only monetary property that she had was an insurance policy. And there were 2 beneficiaries on the insurance policy, her mother and Mr. Smith.
Yes.
How much was that insurance policy?
42.
It was for $44,000. The money was divided equally between Dolores Wells and myself.
Okay. It is your claim that Mr. Smith has property that belongs to your sister and your daughter that should rightfully be yours.
Well, actually, he has pictures of me and her as children, 7 months old, baby pictures that I could never get again. And he has
Okay, just 1 second. Do you have any objection giving her twin the pictures of the 2 of them as
None
children?
whatsoever.
Fine. We've just taken care of the pictures. What else?
Well, actually, I just want her personal belongings.
Just no. Personal belongings is very, very nebulous. You tell me exactly what it is that you think you are entitled to.
I think I'm entitled to her driving license plus a Social Security number card.
Why would you want that? Just because for sentimental reasons?
No. It's due to the fact because Mr. Smith refused to let me have anything converted but what she had, and
he changed locks, wouldn't even, see, I was there, and I was the one that was taking care of her. I wouldn't even got this back, which is mine. I let her use my ring to go on vacation 1 year. And if I hadn't got it during the process of being there, I wouldn't have been able to get my ring because he refused to even invite us over to the house to get anything.
Well, it depends upon what you wanted to get. You have any problem giving her mother her Social Security card?
No, I don't.
And her driver's license?
No, I don't.
Fine. Those things you can have along with the pictures. What else?
Actually, we want all her personal things.
You keep saying all her personal things.
She had 1,000 movie collection tapes. She had
Just a second.
albums.
No, just a second. Now you're talking different story. Now you're not talking sentimental things. Now you're talking things that are worth money. These two people lived together for 17 years.
He lived on her, Your Honor.
Whether he lived on her or not, this is the person your sister chose to live with. You just can't say, I want property. I want all her property.
Okay, my problem is, okay, Judge, this man has a double life he's been living. All of a sudden, he went from being a loving person to a person that was vindictive and treating my sister like dog, poo.
Miss Wells, let me explain something to you. Nobody looks into somebody else's bedroom.
We were there.
You or your mother. Your sister was an adult. She chose this man for 17 years, longer than most marriages. The fact that she is gone now doesn't give you license to look into their relationship and say, I don't like it. Doesn't give you license to do that. It's a very foolish thing for you to do. Sometimes dealing with death, it's easier to be angry with someone, to vent it in anger than to feel the pain that somebody died. So it's very easy to be angry with this man rather than feeling the sadness of your sister's passing. That happens. It's a very natural thing, but it's a very unhealthy thing. So the things that these two people accumulated, irrespective of whose money paid for it, he has in his possession in his home. There are certain personal effects that I can understand you and your mother may want.
Well, he told me that I can have all her clothes. Okay, I'm the only one that can fit her clothes, but I mean, he hasn't brought all of her clothes to me. He brought a couple of little items, maybe a jacket or something, but my sister has a wardrobe.
Do you have any clothes?
Yes, Your Honor. I took 5 bags of clothing and a box of shoes and other personal effects of Carolyn's to them, and Connie told me not to bring anything else because they didn't have any room.
When did you do that, Mr. Smith?
I did that about a month ago or more. And,
is that true?
It's true, but...
All right, that's all. I don't want to hear but. So he did bring over clothing and
brought
shoes.
a box of clothes and some material.
No, he said 5 bags of clothing.
It wasn't 5. He brought a bag of clothing, he brought a bag of material, and he bought the old raggedy shoes that she wore when she died.
Come on. You're talking $5,000 here. $5,000 doesn't fit old clothes. What else do you want?
My sister had stuff she never wore.
Listen to me.
Well, I want her albums.
You can't have her albums.
He already told me I can have them.
Then he'll give them to you. I'm not awarding you money for them. What?
May I? She also had cash in her savings account. She just had got her income tax. It was $1,500 that she put in her savings, plus she had $200 worth of quarters, which was in their bedroom. And when I went there to look in there, they was not there.
What did you go in there to look in there for?
I was sleeping in there.
What did you go in their room to
and
look in their room?
she sent me in there to get medication and stuff.
What did you go and look at her quarters for?
Because I don't want to
This is a couple.
Okay.
This is a couple.
All right.
He didn't treat her like
That's
they were a
not
couple.
for you to say, madam.
Okay.
That is not for you to say. Your sister lived with him. For whatever it was, they brought each other a certain amount of pleasure and comfort. Otherwise, your sister wouldn't have stayed. Now that she's not here anymore, it's not the time for you to have bad feelings with this man.
We have not treated this man bad at all. We haven't even called him or nothing.
Just a minute. Did you want to go into his house and take out property that you thought you were entitled to?
Well, I
no,
thought
no.
I was
The answer is either yes or no.
Yes, I did.
Well,
I
that's
thought it was
wrong.
good.
That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. For all intents and purposes, this was a couple of a very, very long-standing relationship. Where the heck do you come off going into their home to take property that you believe is yours?
He just had a private life.
That's not your business.
He has a problem coming out of the closet. And
Listen, I don't want to hear that, Miss Wells. I'm totally disinterested in it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He beat her up. Then she couldn't walk for 3 months. Then she died right after that.
You're talking about things. How will that make your deceased sister feel better?
And later today,
We were all playing hide and go seek, and I tried to push the door open.
And you must have pushed it pretty hard. The door on his house got broken.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Connie Wells and her mother Dolores Wells say Malcolm Smith won't return the belongings of Connie's deceased sister. Malcolm says he's given the Wells everything that was hers.
You're not paying attention to me.
was trying to
I'm
tell
saying to you, get over it. Get over the anger. Your sister is gone.
This man
you want her.
my sister before she could not even walk anymore. He beat her up. Then she couldn't walk for 3 months. Then she died right after that. We don't know what he did to her.
Listen, you're talking about things.
See, this
you're
man-
talking about, and you're not
this
even
man-
talking
this
about
man-
that because you're not
this man
suing him for
lived
it,
on
Tom.
my sister.
Speaking. You're not even talking about things. You're suing him, not for the things. You're talking about suing him for $5,000. How will that make your deceased sister feel better?
Only reason we sued him is because he brought us Pampers and bed sheets that a week after my sister died, and he could have threw that stuff away, but he brought it just to be funny.
And plus he know where I live. It was a letter addressed to me that came to his house. He opened it. This is it right here, y'all.
Let me say it. Was this all before or after you tried to get into the house when he changed the locks?
We haven't
He
tried
changed
to
the
get in the
lock.
house. He changed it the moment she died.
Okay.
He bought a new car, you know,
This is Carolyn's. Just a second. This is Carolyn's disability check, the last one for 4 days. So they said the last one goes to the next of kin. Fill out and sign the back for Carolyn's last check. What does that mean? Did he send you the check?
No. He sent her the paper to fill
That's
out
it, what he
that
said.
she had to send to the unemployment office or the disability office. That was inside the letter that he sent to my mother.
Fine. So did she send the papers back?
Yeah.
But I haven't got no information from
Just a
it.
second. Fine. That's not his fault. He sent you the form, and he told you what to do on the form.
He opened
said,
her
fill
letter.
it out and sign it and send it back for Carolyn's last check. What's wrong with that?
The letter that came to my mother was in her name, her address. It wasn't his to open like he did.
The letter that she's referring to was addressed to Carolyn Wells, to our address. And I opened to look at it to see what it was. When I realized what it was, I wrote that little note and mailed it to her. And I don't see nothing wrong with that.
There is nothing wrong with it, Mr. Smith. Will you see to it that the plaintiffs get any baby pictures?
I
Go
sure
through the baby
will.
pictures. Her
And-
mother would like her driver's license for whatever reason and her Social Security card. Is there anything else that you have in the house that you believe that they would want that you are prepared to give them?
I'm prepared to give Connie record albums, like she said.
Fine.
They're already boxed and ready to go, and more clothes of Carolyn and personal effects.
What personal effects?
Like jewelry, cosmetics, female personal effects.
Okay.
I still don't feel like it's fair because he's picking out what he wants to give
You
us.
cannot go into this man's house and pick and choose from his things
Okay,
what you
thank
want.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's our excuse. You may step out.
Oh, you guys are so lucky I didn't get up there. This man here, okay? This man here has been real physical with my sister when she could not walk, okay? And he's been a bum.
I think the motivation was behind Carolyn's life insurance, that the fact that Connie Wells was not on it, her twin sister, and her mother and myself was.
And now the next case.
All parties on Terry versus Ocasio. Step forward, please.
43-year-old electrician Steve Terry says Tanya Ocasio's 13-year-old son, Ricky Hill, damaged a door to his home.
What's your first name, sir?
Ricky?
Step up here, Ricky. You're his mother?
Yes.
You weren't there?
No.
Have a seat. You're his father?
Yes, ma'am.
You weren't there?
Correct.
Have a seat. Step up here. What's your first name?
Steven,
Okay. How old are you, Ricky?
13.
How do you know the plaintiff?
We've been friends for a couple of years.
But there came a time a couple of years ago where you weren't as good friends. Is that right?
A few times, yes.
Problems over some stolen property from his house?
Yes.
He said that he thought that you had taken some property from his house. Is that right?
Yes.
And after that time, did you still remain good friends?
Yes, pretty good friends.
Were you allowed in his house?
No, his dad didn't let me in his house.
That was after the incident where things were taken out of the house, is that right?
Yes.
Something happened with the door to his house, which is what this case is about. That the door on his house got broken.
Yes.
Now I want you to tell me what happened.
We were all playing hide and go seek.
Who was playing?
Me, Steven, my little brother, and one of Steven's friends, Nick. And we'd stopped because everybody got tired. It was time, and Nick was going to go home in 20 minutes. My pager was inside his house. I'd asked them to keep it earlier inside his house. And they were going in, and then I was going to go in with them and get it, and they ran in front of me and shut the door. And I tried to push the door open, and it went open, and they tried to push it back, and it slammed up against the side of the wood on the house, and it just cracked the door.
Then you must have pushed it pretty hard.
Or my pager was on top of his refrigerator.
How do you know it was on top of the refrigerator? Had you been in the house?
I saw him put it on there.
Where were you when you saw him put it on top of the refrigerator?
On the side door, on the steps, and the refrigerator's near it.
So you didn't go into the house?
No.
Because you know you're not allowed in the house?
Yes.
Did you tell him, I just want my pager?
Yes.
And what did he say?
They really didn't say anything. They were just saying keep him out. And
because he's not allowed to be in here.
I don't know. I think they were playing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did your little brother have your pager?
Yes.
So what were you doing trying to get into the house?
They gave the pager to him after the door was broken.
Are you sure about that?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Steve Terry says 13-year-old Ricky Hill damaged his door while playing with his son, Steve Jr.
Go over there.
Watch your step.
All right, Stephen. Let's see what happened.
Well, we just got done playing hide and go seek, and before that happened, we put his pager in the house.
How did that happen? That you put his pager in the house?
Well, he said he don't want it to get broken when he was hiding or something, so I put it on top of the refrigerator. We played. Everybody got tired of playing, and so he asked for his pager back, and I said, "Hold on, I'll go get it." And so I went to get it, and then I thought, well, if I open the door, he's going to try to get in. And so finally, I took it to the front door to give it to him.
Why didn't you just get his pager from the kitchen where it was and bring it outside?
Because I thought he might try to come in when I opened the door.
What would make you, just a minute, what would make you think that? He didn't try to get in when you put the pager inside, did he?
No.
So what made you think that he was going to try to get into your house when he wanted to get the pager?
I'm not sure. I just guess I thought that. So I gave it to his little brother at the front door.
And?
I'm not sure from there.
What do you mean you're not sure from there? The door got broken. How did the door get broken?
I don't know. Nick, he was on the side door and I was at the front door, so.
Which door got broken?
The side.
And you weren't there?
Not at the side door. I was at the front door.
Step down. Did your little brother have your pager?
Yes.
So he had gotten your pager already?
Yes.
So what were you doing trying to get into the house?
They gave the pager to him after the door was broken.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Stephen, do you think that there was a lot of playing around here? Think you were all...
I'd probably say yes about that.
I think so, too. Now, who was at the side door when the side door got broken?
My friend, Nick.
So you weren't there?
No.
So you don't know who was pushing and shoving, right?
Right.
So, wouldn't you say that both of you were responsible for that? Right? Would you step up, please? Is your last name Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Terry, you were not at home that day, is
That's
that right?
correct.
You have pictures for me to show
Yes,
me the
I
door?
do.
I'd like to see them. You have estimates on the door?
Yes.
Looks like $710, is that right?
Yes.
You understand that these boys were playing?
Yes, I did.
And it sort of got out of hand.
Yes.
There was a lot of pushing and shoving, and he was partially responsible. But so was a third boy who was in the back. So everybody was sort of involved in it, and your son is very honest that he wasn't at the back door. He can't tell me what happened at the side door. The defendant is mostly honest.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Play around, sometimes things get broken. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Stephen, the door was already broke prior to any of this happening at all.
Yeah, but he broke it more.
He wanted me to pay the entire thing because he's remodeling
But
his
now
home.
you're not going to pay the entire thing. You're only going to pay $236, which you offered to pay at the beginning, correct?
Correct.
Good. It was the right thing to happen, but first you had to get all the facts.
Right.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $236, that's all.
Parties are excused. Versus McElroy. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats, please.
Ms. Hilton, the defendant is a friend of your current boyfriend's, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that for some bizarre reason, she vandalized your car. You were not present when that happened, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And yet you believe that she did it. The defendant says she had no reason to vandalize your car and she didn't do it. Boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
Who's he?
He's a friend of her boyfriend's.
Who saw her vandalize your car?
Joseph.
Joseph, step up, please. Joseph, what's your last name?
Guillory.
Mr. Guillory, I want you to tell me, start from the beginning, sir, and tell me what you know about this evening, which is the 25th of July, 2002.
Okay. Me and Andrea and my friend Dre and another girl named Bridget, we went to the club called the Hurricane Hut. We were all having a good time. We had a few drinks. And after the club, we came back to my stepmom's house. We was playing a sex game.
A what?
A sex game.
Sex game?
Right. It was called an authorization game. And Andre asked me, can he mess with Andrea?
Andre asked you
Right.
if he could mess with this lady.
Right.
Why would he ask your permission?
Because we was playing an authorization game.
Oh, that's
You had
part
to
of the
ask for
game.
it. It's part of the game.
Go ahead.
And I said, yeah. And I had to ask her, can I mess with her friend, Bridget? And so they were messing around, and we were messing around. She looked over and saw me. Well, she saw Bridget sliding up and down on me and thought we were having sex, but we wasn't. And she got mad, and she said she was fisting to go. And I said, well, I'm fisting to go, too. She said, well, where are you going to spend the night tonight? I said, I'm going home to Dolly.
To this lady?
Right. She got mad and said, oh, you going home to that? That's what and so they walked out.
Who walked out?
Andrea and Bridget. So I proceeded to walk out, too, but I was like about 3 or 4 minutes behind them. So I just happened to look out the window, and I seen her keying up the car.
Keying whose car?
Dolly's car.
You mean you had driven her car that evening? You didn't tell me
No,
about
her car was
it.
parked in the parking lot. And we took my homeboy's car, but when we came back, yeah, Dolly's car was still there.
So you drove her car over to this apartment complex where
Right.
you proceeded to go out for the
Get another
evening
car.
drinking
Yeah.
in another car and then come back to your stepmom's house,
Right.
have sex with a whole bunch of other people, and then you were going to go back to her house with her car. Was that your plan?
Right.
And when you came out, you saw her car in the parking lot, and you saw her doing what?
She was keying the car, and her friend Bridget was right behind her.
What do you mean you saw her keying the car?
Well, I couldn't see what she had in her hand, but she was just going down the car with,
No, it wasn't.
Okay, so what did you do next?
So I proceeded to go outside, but by the time I got all the way to the car, she already had then walked away and hit me on the cell phone, called me on the cell phone. And she said,
called you on the cell phone?
Right. She said, I don't know who black car this is, but I just did up. And I said, why did you do that? And I told her, don't call me no more. She kept calling my phone saying, don't tell her, don't tell her. I said, why not? And she said, well, tell her somebody else did it.
Or else I'm going to tell Dolly what you were doing this evening.
I didn't even know her. Sorry.
So she kept begging me to tell us that somebody else did it, but I wouldn't do it.
Now I'll hear you.
That night that we went out, it was on the 24th. It was the night before the 25th. We all met at his house. We were all hanging out in the bedroom, watching TV and stuff like that. There was no sex game going on. His friend came on to me, and I said no. And I seen him messing with my friend, and she said she felt uncomfortable. She walked away and told me, and I said, okay, we're leaving. And he said, why are you leaving? And I was like, because you're putting our relationship I didn't like where he was putting the relationship.
What relationship?
We weren't together, but we had a relationship. We were seeing each other.
How were you seeing each other? Were you
He'd come
intimate
and
with
visit
each
me
other?
when I lived in Austin. He came and spent the night at my house. It was an intimate relationship.
Was it intimate in the month of July of 2002?
Yes, it was. It has been for about 3 years.
Okay,
Up
go
until
ahead.
that day. I've only met this girl one time, Dolly. I've only seen her car, I think, in passing, and I couldn't tell you what kind of car it was. The night that we came back, there was no big fight, there was no misunderstanding, no argument. I just told him I didn't like where he was putting our relationship, and I didn't want to talk to him anymore. So me and my friend Bridget, we left. We got in her car and we left. He called me asking me to come back. And we had some words on the phone, and then I got to my house, and that's when she called me. He went and told her that I keyed her car, and she called me telling me all kinds of stuff that I need to watch myself, that she's going to beat my butt or whatever. I never
And what does he have to do with all this?
Because he's his friend. JoJo went and told him one day that he didn't know who keyed his car.
Step up. Tell me your name.
Q Logan.
Mr. Logan, tell me what you know about this. You clearly weren't there that evening, but did you at some point, she says, have a conversation with Mr. Guillory?
Yes, ma'am. The day after it happened, and he said that he didn't see it. He said he saw her standing near his car. He was in the window. He was inside the house.
Yes.
In the window, he looked out
the
the
window.
window.
So what did he say to you?
He said he seen her standing near the car, but since he was going to try to sue her, he was going to tell the court that he seen her key the car, which in essence, if you seen someone keying your car, wouldn't you try to go out there and stop them?
I was going outside.
It takes more than 2 or 3 minutes to key the word in somebody's paint job.
So who do you think did that?
I have no idea who did it, but JoJo takes her car at all times of the night. She has no say-so where she can drive her own car. He
Who?
drops her off at work.
You mean Dolly?
Yes. She pays all the bills. The only thing, the apartment is in his name. He goes where he wants, when he wants. He quit his job because he did not want to pay the amount that they wanted him to pay in child support. So he quit and went to his old job.
What child support? Who does he have a child with?
He has a child with another girl, not Dolly. He quit his job.
Not Dolly, not this lady.
No.
How old is the child?
Maybe about 2 years old.
So he had a relationship with somebody else while he was having a relationship with you. At least one other that you know about.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I.
So. What?
But see, I knew about it, and I'm not a jealous person. I met that girl that was pregnant by him, and I took her over there to meet him. I never overreacted about anything like that. We had an open relationship, so I don't understand why he would say that I would key his car.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's what I would say to him. But for your antics, my car would be okay. I'm 100% sure of that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dolly Hilton says her boyfriend's ex, Andrea McElroy, keyed her car. Dolly's boyfriend, Joseph, says Andrea was angry over a sexual game they played with a group of friends.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a cook.
Are you working now?
Yes, I am. I was working 2 jobs.
Are you? You pay child support?
Yes, I do.
But he quit his job making $40,000 a year to go back to working as a cook at
No,
KFC.
that's not why I quit my job.
Yes, it is. You told me it was.
He told all of us it was.
What's your current child support order?
160, and I gave her 20 more
160 a what?
a month.
How much do you earn at your job, working 2 jobs, sir?
No, I was working 2 jobs. I let one go on. I was working on the water offshore, and I was working at KFC too, both of them.
How much do you make now?
How much do I make now? About $1,300 a month.
What kind of work do you do, Miss Hilton?
I drive a school bus.
You have children?
Yes, ma'am.
How many children do you
I
have?
have 2.
Who pays the rent in your house?
I pay rent, and he also helps pay bills.
You know what he's going to do? He's going to pay for your car. You want to know why? Because I'm not 100% sure she did it, but I'm 100% sure of this. That but for his actions, you wouldn't have any trouble with your car. I'm 100% sure of that.
Your Honor, she...
No, listen to me. I'm 100% sure of that.
No.
I know that I'm not convinced by the required quantum of proof that I need to be convinced by that she keyed your car. I am, however, 100% convinced that but for him, according to his own testimony, your car would not have been placed at risk. Because let's see what he did. He took your car to go out with a bunch of other friends to a club without you. Now, that may be okay. Let's say that's okay. That you said, listen, you want to go out for an evening, go out for an evening.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that you would say go out for an evening with an old girlfriend or a girlfriend who we had been intimate with for 3 years. Can't believe that he actually told you that. But maybe he did. Maybe I'm that old-fashioned. But let's say he didn't tell you. And then from the club, he went back to somebody's house where, according to him, they decided to have a party and play sex games. That's according to him. She said it didn't happen. But let's say I believe him. And it all got very unseemly. And then she got annoyed and she went outside. And maybe she keyed your car, and maybe it was the mother of some other one of his children who keyed your car. Maybe it was somebody else. But one thing I know for sure, but for his total lack of morality, your car would not have been damaged. So he's going to pay for it. He's going to pay for it. And I suggest that you make up your mind. Either he pays for your car and you say to him, because that's what I would say to him, but for your antics, my car would be okay. So either get your behind out of here, away from my 2 children, because you are nothing but a lowlife, and I don't want you, Mr. Lowlife, near my children, or fix my car and straighten up. You got it? The case is dismissed. Period. End of discussion. Goodbye.
She's got nude pictures of herself laying all over Houston.
If he wouldn't have come in here and tried to lie, I'm sure things could have been worked out.
She was trying to act like a good girl. We got pictures right here showing she was a bad girl, butt naked and stuff.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Robert versus Josephowski. Step forward, please.
Student Kathy Robert is suing her former friend, freelance event coordinator Marion Josephowski, for the value of her pets. Marion is countersuing for harassment and lost wages.
Ms. Robert, the defendant was a friend of yours, according to you, and agreed to do some pet sitting for you.
That's correct.
And according to you, she sold your pets to a local pet store. You want to be compensated for the pets. The defendant says that she did, in fact, agree to watch your animals for you for a day. It ended up being 3 weeks. She couldn't keep them anymore. She is counterclaiming, alleging harassment. So why don't you tell me when and under what circumstances she agreed to do this pet sitting for you?
She agreed originally to do it for me on July 8th. I came over and left my animals on July 16th. It was supposed to be...
Okay. What kind of animals were they?
I had 3 birds, 1 bunny, and a small fish aquarium.
3 birds, 1 rabbit, and 1 fish tank?
Small aquarium, yes.
Well, what was in the aquarium?
Some guppies.
Is this just a bowl?
Mm-hmm, a bowl.
You're talking about a fish bowl, hardly an aquarium.
No.
3 birds, what kind of birds?
A plumhead parakeet and a white-faced cockatiel and a albino parakeet.
Why did you tell her you needed her to watch the animals for you?
I was moving out and my apartment wasn't ready yet, and I couldn't put the animals where I was going to be staying, so she agreed to take care of them, and I gave her $50 to do that.
Did she give you $50?
No, ma'am. She gave me $25, a check which she asked me not to cash for several days, which I complied with.
Does that sound right to you?
No, because she had a closed bank account and I couldn't give her a check, so I gave her cash on different times.
That's not true.
What do you mean you gave her cash at different times?
I gave her $25 initially, and then whenever I would come over to visit, I'd give her $10.
All right, so initially you did give her $25.
Initially.
Okay. Now, you brought the animals over on the 16th?
Correct.
Then what happened?
And then I came over to visit once a week. She knew that she would be watching the birds for about 3.5 weeks.
Don't tell me what you knew. Did she come over once a week?
About that.
Fine. How many weeks did you visit?
3.
When did you tell her you wanted the animals back?
I had asked her if she could watch them till about August 15th, but she said that she needed me to come pick them up about August 8th. So I said, okay. And I tried to call her August 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Never got a phone call back from her at all.
Well, when was the last time you had visited your animals?
I believe it was July 31st, and I went over on July 31st, and my bunny wasn't there. She said that the bunny was being cared for by her ex-husband, which we later found out was a lie. They were over at her little girl's friend's house, and we went there approximately 6 weeks later and picked it up from the little girl's friend's house.
Okay, so the bunny you got back?
The bunny I got back, and I bought back 1 bird from
Just
the
a
pet
minute,
store.
bunny you now have?
The bunny I have.
What happened with the birds? Because it's the birds that we're talking about.
Well, Your Honor, she did ask me to watch them, but it was only for, quote, a few days at the most.
Okay, but she came to visit. According to what you just testified to, she would come once a week. So you knew it was more than 1 day, because that's what you say in your answer.
Initially, it was 1 to 3 days.
Okay, but it turned out to be more than that.
Correct.
And you knew it was more than that because she came to visit once a week, according to you.
Right.
You said that. So why did you give away her animals?
Because
Or sell
I told her, each time she came to visit me, I told her that she needed to pick them up by the 12th. By the 12th of August, I needed them gone because my landlord did not allow me to have pets. And she said, if I can't have...
Would you look at me?
If I can't have a place for them to stay, then can you find someone to watch them for me? And so
I found someone else to take care of them, and they, in turn, got rid of the birds. I did not. I just did what she asked me to do.
Who did you give the birds to?
A friend.
Give me the friend's name.
Jeff is his name.
And you gave Jeff the birds when?
On the 14th, when I was moving out. After I waited for her to come, and she did not, because my door was ajar open all day, because I was fixing the door so that I could move out and get my deposit
Your
back.
Honor, I was there on the 15th, and she told me that the
And
birds were at
excuse
her
me.
mother's house, and she gave me a fake phone number. I was there the day after she's saying that.
She told you that the birds
she
were at
gave
her
them
mother's house.
Yep.
Did you ever find out what happened to the birds?
I found one of them in a pet store, and I have no idea what happened to the plumhead. I have no idea.
How did you find one of the birds in a pet store?
I heard them arguing in the background. I called up once, and she said, well, I really don't have your birds. Jeff really has them. And she started arguing with Jeff in the background, and he goes, well, I can't get them back. I sold them to Birdland.
All right, you want to tell me about your counterclaim?
Yes, ma'am. Kathy called everyone I know, telling them that if they ever wanted to see me alive again, that they should tell me to give her birds back. And she also threatened my family. She told me, just give me your laptop and I will leave you and your family alone. She
And you offered to give me your
my
laptop.
daughter, she told my daughter that she was going to come to her school if I didn't give her anything in return for her birds being sold, which she knew that I did not sell.
That's not true.
And threatening me, and she made me lose a babysitting job I had because I had a 3-year-old there, and she was screaming at my face. She was right here telling me she was going to trash my car and she wasn't going to leave us alone. And
you had no right to give anybody her animals. This isn't a situation where she left these animals with you, totally unattended. She never came back. I'm speaking. The $25 that she gave you more than covered any food for 3 birds and a rabbit for 3 weeks. So there's no question that you didn't have any out-of-pocket expenses, even if she didn't give you any more money. I mean, bird seed and rabbit food, $25 worth goes a very, very long way. So what you had to do was just return them to her and get them out of your house.
But she asked me, Your
You
Honor.
chose not to do that. You chose to give them to somebody who was unreliable.
No.
That's boyfriend Jeff.
Excuse me, Your
And
Honor.
if Jeff, no, now
Excuse
you
me, Your
listen
Honor.
to me. And if Jeff sold them, you are responsible. You agreed to take care of her pets, and you chose
Until
not
a
to
certain
do that.
time. Until a certain time, Your Honor.
No,
she
you
agreed.
chose not to do that.
She agreed to pick them up on the 12th, Your Honor.
And you chose a path that was wrong because you had another path that you could have chosen, which was to take the animals, 3 birds, because you already didn't have the rabbit, and take them to where she was living and say,
I did not know
here
where
they
she was
are,
living.
then pick up the phone and call her.
I knew her for 3 weeks before all this happened. She just starts dumping her stuff and all of her pets on me, and
She
I was
didn't
just
dump
trying to help
anything
her.
on you, madam. According to you, she would come by once a week to visit them. You told me that. That's what you told me for 3 weeks.
And she...
That's what you told me. So this wasn't just a, here, take my animals and I'll come and get them when I want to. She gave them to you. She did the responsible thing. She gave them to you with money. Then she came once a week to see
Right.
them and probably gave you an extra couple of bucks too, although you don't acknowledge that.
However-
Even if she didn't, she gave you enough to take care of them. You had a responsibility
And
to
I
do
did
the
take
right
care of
thing. You did not. She's going to get what she asks for, which is $560. And as far as your counterclaim is concerned, you didn't do the right thing. You don't get a penny for harassment. Goodbye.
Parties up.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mrs. Jenkins, the defendant is your daughter,
I gave birth to her, yes.
and the co-defendant your son-in-law.
Yes.
According to your complaint, you believe that your daughter and son-in-law owe you for their share of a trip that you took to Hawaii.
Yes.
You asked your daughter to join you so that she could help you with your wheelchair and getting around, and you agreed to pay for her.
Yes, I did that.
She wanted her husband to go along. You said you couldn't pay for him.
Yes.
Or would not pay for him, and she agreed to pay for him.
Right.
So you say that they owe you some $3,000 for the trip.
Well, there was more than that. I gave her the number to my credit card that she could use over the telephone, and so she charged up a lot of things before we ever got started. Told her she could charge a car payment, utility bill, Cellular One, Geico.
So a lot of other of their personal charges that
Yes.
they placed on your credit card.
Yes.
Can I see the list of credit card charges that you think that they owe you, Ms. Jenkins?
Do you also want to see where on a different credit card I paid for everybody?
Yes. Okay, so you paid for everybody's ticket and the hotel, but that you had agreed to pay for, except for his ticket.
Right, and hotel. That's $800 and some for the whole thing. It was a package deal.
$25.33.
Yes.
I'm really more concerned about this credit card, $3,670.
I'm concerned about that too.
Well, tell me what your interpretation was of the agreement that you had with your mother when you went, and the bills that you paid from her credit card.
When this came about, Miss Jenkins had said that she wanted to take a trip to Hawaii, and she was quite ill. She had emphysema, and that this might be the last chance she'd get to see Hawaii. She'd been there several times, and she knew that I had never been to Hawaii, and she also, we'd only been married a short time, and we didn't have a honeymoon, and she needed a caregiver, and my husband was a medic while he was in the service, and she felt that between the two of us, we could help her get around. But she also wanted to give it to us as a honeymoon present.
Is that what she said?
That's what she said. A honeymoon present that she was paying for 2/3, we would pay 1/3.
Or why would we go?
Just a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, and so I told her, I kept saying, no, we can't afford this. We just put a new roof on our house. We bought this older home that we were restoring. I had used both of our vacation time to go to my son's wedding in March in Kansas City. I had flown back to Maryland for my birth of my... I know, but there was no way we could afford to do this.
Okay.
I said, you know, if we're both missing a week of work, we can't pay our monthly payments. And she said, well, she had several credit cards with a zero balance, that she would be able to handle it.
As a loan or as a gift?
As a loan.
So some of your monthly expenses, in addition to 1/3 of the cost of the trip.
Right.
Okay.
Because I haven't been a part of Miss Jenkins' life but the last 24 years, I have gotten to know my siblings, and they all told me that I needed to get everything in writing. They all warned me, or get witnesses. And in those phone calls, Miss Jenkins shared with us that...
Do you call your mother Miss Jenkins?
My mom, it is very hard, told us that it didn't matter how long it took, or how long it took, or how much we could afford per month. You know, that she really wanted to go on this trip, and she wanted to be able to experience the time. I've never been alone with my mom on a trip ever.
Why is that?
Because she's never been a mother to her, Your Honor.
Well, I was 3 months old when I was sold to a family. It was considered like a black market by my biological father and mother. And
so you were raised by another family?
I was raised by another group of people that abused me for the first 18 years of my life.
And then you found your mother?
I was 29 when I made the first call on April 7th, 1978.
You have siblings?
I have 7 siblings.
All older?
2 older, and the rest are younger, and 1 sibling by my father.
So this was really the first time you were alone with your mother?
Alone without anybody except for my husband.
So you have every intention, or your intention is or was to pay back the expenses that you put on this card, your phone bill and your insurance and the other things. Okay. Did you pay back any of the money to your mother?
Yes, I did.
How much did you pay back?
The total is $1,026.
Now, as far as you're concerned, does that bring you up to date with your mother, both for the expenses that you charged on a card and the third of the trip? Doesn't look
We
that
don't know
way.
how much a third of the trip was.
We have never received any documentation telling us the cost of the hotel or cost of the airplane ride, anything.
All I know is the trip to Hawaii was $25.33. 1/3 of that is $8.44.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other charges that you have on this credit card, which is what your mother gave me. Let me see if I can come up with a number.
I have letters here from both Mary Lana and her husband that said how much they were going to pay and when they were going to pay. When she first came to Oregon, I co-signed for her to get a new car.
I'm not going, listen to me. Don't go back into ancient history. This is a very simple case, and let's not make it any more complicated, madam.
The last payments I got was for $13. That's what they're going to pay me the rest. $13 for 18 years will repay me for this loan.
How old are you, Miss Jenkins?
72.
You don't have a lot of money, but you have some, enough to keep you comfortable?
Yes.
Good. Is it important for you to have a relationship with your daughter?
Not now.
She never did before.
Just a minute. That's not her fault.
I was in the hospital when she was taken from me, and her father placed her with these people. I was in the hospital. He had deserted us. I was there for malnutrition and a kidney infection. And he brought these people to the hospital and said they wanted to adopt her. I threw such a fit, they threw them all out. When I got out of the hospital, he had placed her with these people.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She told him that the used appliance man was my father. It's not a matter of money. I was sold for pots and pans and the cost of her hospital bill.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mary Jenkins says her daughter, Mary Lynn Fowler, and her husband, William Fowler, owe for a trip to Hawaii and for unpaid credit card charges.
Miss Jenkins, I'm not placing blame.
Oh, okay.
I'm not placing blame. All I'm saying to you, it's not her fault. She was the baby. She was a baby.
That's right.
So
it also was not my fault. I tried.
Well, it's not her fault, so it has to be parents' fault because the parents are the parents. It's not her fault. All I'm saying to you is...
I was 18 years old when she was born.
All I'm saying to you is, it seems to me that it's a very sad state of affairs.
It is a sad story.
When a parent, especially with a circumstance where there has been a terrible estrangement over the years, for a couple of $1,000s, sues a child. That's something that I hate to see. If a child disappoints you by not repaying a loan, what parents usually do is say, I'm not going to give them any more money. It's a sorry state of affairs when you choose, under these circumstances, over a trip, to bring a lawsuit against your children. Now I'm going to turn to your counterclaim for a minute, which I believe you know at this point is nonsense, but I'm just going to make sure you know it's nonsense. Your counterclaim is for two things. You believe that you should be paid for caregiving services on the trip to Hawaii. And then a certain emotional distress. The emotional distress, I'm sure, is some of the distress that you've just told me about. Well, you don't get paid for that. And as far as the caregiving for your mom, that was the arrangement. The arrangement was you were going to take care of her there so that she could travel. There was never any discussion of compensation, so you're not entitled to create a contract afterwards. So I'm sure that but for the fact that your mother filed this lawsuit, you would not have filed your counterclaim. Would that be a fair statement?
That's right.
Yes.
So, the emotional stress, though, I did have to go into therapy, which was very helpful so that I could write the letter that started this whole thing. On January 2nd, I wrote her a letter sharing with her I knew the truth and that she doesn't realize I have the paperwork where she signed me off when I was 3 months old. I have 2 valid certificates of birth with 2 different names. The people that adopted me to put me in a life of abuse. I was 18 years. That's why the $13 for 18 years, for the 18 years of hell I lived in until I could leave home. It's not a matter of money. I was sold for pots and pans and the cost of her hospital bill. And my biological father shared in the guilt. He told me he was sorry. He thought he wasn't my father. She told him that the used appliance man was my father. So that's why he left. He didn't have any need to stay around any longer.
Mrs. Fowler, it sounds to me as if you have a lot on your emotional plate to deal with.
And I do, and I appreciate your allowing me to share.
I believe that you have a lot on your emotional plate to deal with. So let me just make some suggestions to you.
Thank you.
You have children?
I have 3.
How old are they?
My oldest is 33. He's a president of a company. My daughter lives here in Los Angeles. I adopted her from Cambodia, and she's 41. She's married to a fireman here, and my youngest son is just 30, and he's a doctor of psychology, and he just was out of the Navy during the 9/11.
So it sounds like you have 3 lovely children.
I do,
They've done
and
okay.
grandchildren.
And how many?
3 grandchildren.
Soon,
and
soon to be 3.
No, I have 3. 2 boys here, 1 girl in Nebraska, and 2 that are within the next week.
So it sounds like everything came together.
That's good.
Despite the pain in the beginning of your life. So well, the reason I asked you the age of your kids is because you had children when they were 18. Remember when they were 17, 18 years old?
Definitely.
Tell me about them when they were 17, 18 years old.
Hot cars and fun times, and we also went through...
But irresponsible?
They had to be respectful. You know,
but
they
irresponsible?
Yes.
Irresponsible kids?
Yes,
kids.
sometimes.
So because I had 18-year-olds, a whole bunch of them. and they know nothing.
Oh, about life.
So I want you to just think about your mother being 18 years old, and you were her third child?
Third child.
Third child. So something wasn't going right in her life.
I know that.
Because she must have had first when she was 14 or 15. Right?
And I understand
So
that.
something wasn't going right there. And nobody has a crystal ball. Very often adoptions turn out beautifully. Most often they turn out beautifully. People who want to adopt a baby really want a child very desperately, and they want to give the child a home. So if that even entered the mix of 18 years old, I got 3 children, I have no idea how I'm going to pay for tomorrow's bread, at least give my child a shot at a future. The fact that it turned out badly is a sin.
It is.
But I don't think that that sin can be visited on your mother, because you know what being 18 is, and being 17 and 16 and 15 and...
Nor did I ever say that I knew this dramatically because I didn't want her to hurt. I have, you know, I've known for the last 29 years that I was bought. I was not ever legally adopted. There's no legal adoption papers. And I was told from birth on that I was not loved and that I was sold to them.
Then your quasi-adopted
Right.
parents
Right.
did a terrible thing.
They did.
And
they're gone.
Then
And
they...
everybody's dead but me, so that's why use
No, they're
mother.
not.
No, Miss Jenkins, you
I'm
have
serious.
to... You have,
All these other people are all dead.
you have to understand that your daughter, even though she's 53 years old, has certain hurts.
I understand that.
And that
I
she's
hurt
had...
too when I couldn't
No,
get my
no,
baby.
listen to me. It's different. You're the mother. You're supposed to be the one to take care of business, even if you are 18 years old. It was your fault you got pregnant. It was your fault you had her. And she's had to deal with certain hurts her whole life. And it looks to me as if she has done a responsible turnaround, despite her unfortunate upbringing. And she's raised a family. She has a nice husband. She has nice children. And she appears to me to be a lovely lady, despite the fact that she has pain. And I think you're making a big mistake by suing her. I want to tell you that I think you're making a big mistake by suing her.
Can I say something?
Sure can.
When she first found me, she called me. I got on a plane. I went back there. I spent a month with her. And while I was there, this man came to the door. He didn't knock. He said, "Mary Lynn, I'm coming in." This is the same man she was talking about that done all these things to her. She was 28 years old then. I talked to her ex-husband that she married at 18 years old. When I talked to her husband about this, he said he didn't know anything about it, or he would not have let a child molester in his home. I asked him, how could this be? She didn't share that with her husband? She was 18 years old?
Miss Jenkins, sometimes you don't share those things with anybody.
Now she's
Because-
sharing it with the whole world.
Just a second. Maybe a little therapy and maybe a little maturity allows her to do that. But I won't allow you to dismiss that, because even if over the years the facts have become blurred, your daughter felt abandoned when she found out that she was not a biological child of these people, that she had not been formally adopted. And the fact that she married somebody when she was 18 seems to suggest that there were a lot of things going on that...
And she married a man with money so that her children could go to college. I didn't do that.
Just
I'm
a second.
sorry.
Just a second.
May I?
She has not had an irresponsible life. I think you're making a mistake by suing her, but there it looks to me, look, folks, I see that I'm not going to repair this, Miss Fowler.
Can I add,
Sure.
add something? I've been silent. Yes, I've been silent. My ex-husband did not know about my abuse because I felt like I would have been dirty to him. The reason why the child molester came in my home was because he was at my grandmother's house. My biological mother was there. He came in because he wanted to renew old friendships with her. He was
That's
in
a
and
lie,
out.
Mary
He was
Lynn.
in and out of our home for the first 3 years of my life. He would come over and drop me off. She would babysit for me while they went out and partied. And you tell them that's
are
not
you
a
telling
lie?
me that you knew your mother?
My mother babysat for me till I was 3 years old.
In these
So-
other people's homes?
In her own home. They brought me to her
my
house.
home.
So at 3 months old, you were given to another couple.
Right.
But they allowed your mother to babysit for you
Right.
until you were 3
years old.
Miss Fowler,
Thank you. I'm
do you have a
sorry.
nice
No.
husband?
I have a wonderful husband.
You have 3 children?
Yes.
You're going to have some new grandchildren?
Yes.
Sounds to me as if everything is okay.
It is.
And you're trying to find a
Some
comfortable
closure.
path. A comfortable path for yourself. I don't think your mom's going to get there. She's not going to get there. And whether or not you can mend it, I don't know. And I don't even know whether it should be that important to you anymore. You know, you want it to be important, but I don't know if
Everybody wants a mom.
Yeah, but I don't know if it can be. So it seems to me as if you have somebody lovely to rely on, and you have a lovely family, and maybe it's just time to put that period. So, Ms. Jenkins, I've gone over some brief figures. You're suing your daughter and your son-in-law for $3,048.38. I find that they owe you $760 on the bills, and I'm entering a judgment in your favor for $760. And if you want to cancel it, you can. That's all.
I want to
That's
cancel
up to you.
it. I want to cancel it.
Well, you want to cancel the debt? No, that's
No,
important.
I want to
You want to
cancel
cancel
this
the
court.
debt?
I want to cancel
Do you want to
this court.
cancel the debt?
No, I want
You want
the
to-
money I need to pay the credit card off.
$760 then is what you get, period.
I hope you enjoy it, Mary
Parties
Ann.
are out of Mergna versus Thicket. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Ms. Mergner, you were at a party, and it is your claim that the defendant, while acting like a complete imbecile, started to hit golf balls off the hood of your car because somebody had said something to him that offended him. And he caused over $2,000 worth of damage to the roof of your car. Mr. Fickett says he did no such thing, and the only reason that you're suing him is probably because you were in some way infatuated with him, as all women are. And when you found out that he had a girlfriend, you probably got angry or something like that, right?
Something like that, Your Honor, yes.
Did you know him before this
No.
party?
No, I don't.
Who saw him on top of the car?
My witness, Joe Moore.
And I have the witness up here. Tell me your name, sir.
Joe Moore,
Mr. Moore, on what date was this party?
May 20-something. I'm not sure the exact date.
Where was it?
Tucson, Arizona, Grant and Silver Barrel.
At a friend's house.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the name of the friend?
Sean.
Don't look like a deer in headlights, sir. I'm not going to
Sure.
attack you. I'm just asking you some preliminary questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how many people were at this party?
30 at the most. A lot more than 30.
And was, don't speak until I speak to you. Was the defendant one of those people?
Yes, ma'am.
The plaintiff says that you actually observed the defendant doing something in or around or on her car.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you saw.
I saw the defendant standing on top of the car and kind of give a little jump as to indent the roof of the car.
This is ridiculous, Your Honor. He has nothing to go on this.
I don't want you to speak. What word didn't you understand when I said it nicely before?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I saw him do that and then proceed to like drop a golf ball and take the club and just start hitting a couple of golf balls after.
And then what did you do?
I turned around and I walked back in the house. I found my friend Shane, and I said, there's some guy outside jumping up and down on somebody's car, hitting golf balls off the top of the car with your golf clubs. So you might want to call the cops. You might want to come out here and check this out. And then
The police arrive?
No, ma'am. The police never arrived that night.
Who told you that something had happened to your car? Or did anybody?
Not until after the fact. He had already left. He basically wrecked the party. And my boyfriend had just graduated. It was his graduation party from the University of Arizona. So he decides to show up wearing an Arizona State hat. And
I don't care about that. I read that somebody was wearing the wrong kind of, he was wearing
Yes,
the wrong kind of
that's what
hat. Somebody
started
called him a jerk.
This is silly, Your Honor. This is what it's all about.
You're the...
Shh. Listen to me. When did you actually see the damage to your car?
Not until after he left, probably 2 in the morning.
Exactly.
Let me see the estimate for the damage.
This is the estimate.
Mr. Fickett, 2 times I've told you not to speak until I get to your side, which I believe I have assured you that...
I'm just shocked to hear all this. This is so ridiculous. Like, I can't believe she's like actually saying this. She has nothing to go on, no proof.
My mouth is running. When my mouth is running, yours doesn't run.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to say it one more time, and I'm going to try to say it as tastefully and with as much judicial temperament as I can muster. Keep your mouth shut until I talk to you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You have pictures of the car?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Looks like hail damage, Your Honor.
I assume what I'm looking at in some of these pictures are a footprint.
Yes, his footprints were all over.
Okay, now I'll hear you, Mr. Fickett.
All right, I went to this party. The only reason I went to this party was because my friend Nick, who wrestles at ASU, was visiting. And we went to the party, me and my girlfriend Kim here, went to the party just to hang out with him. We were having a casual discussion outside, me and my friend Nick. And from what she tells me, there were like a group of girls, maybe her friends, maybe someone didn't like her, maybe someone didn't like me. I don't know for what reason. There were a group of girls like, just whispering and gossiping like in the corner. She knows more about that than me. I was just hanging out. We were there maybe for an hour, hour and a half. It was graduation night at U of A. There were like 3 parties on the street. I wasn't even drinking. I mean, they were probably drunk as all hell being graduation. The reason I wasn't drinking was because I had a wrestling match the next morning. I fight professionally, and I'm known to be like rumored about to be like this big tough guy that causes all this trouble. And it's just a reputation that beholds me that isn't true. And this is just another jealous person or angry person that just wants to blame stuff on me, either because her car's really damaged, I don't know, or maybe she has something against me or my girlfriend.
She doesn't have anything against you.
Well, she has something against me if she wants to make this stuff up and bring me to court for
Mr.
it.
Fickett. Pay careful attention to me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
She doesn't have anything against you. She doesn't have anything against your girlfriend. She didn't see you do any damage to her car. She didn't tell the police she saw you do any damage to her car. She didn't tell me that she saw you do any damage to her car. He saw you do damage to her car. He doesn't want to date you. We don't want to blame the wrong person, do we?
No, ma'am.
You want to blame somebody. Blame Mr. Moore. Maybe he's jealous of you.
Any which way, she's coming up with a false witness to come up with her case.
No. She goes outside and she finds that her car has been damaged. She says, who damaged my car?
Well, if it was so urgent, why weren't the cops there that night? Why didn't she call the cops that night? Why is my name not in the police report? I mean,
Just a second. They did call the police. But from what you tell me, sir, it was graduation night. The police were probably very, very busy and not swift to respond to some fool standing on top of a car hitting golf balls off somebody's roof. They had other things to worry about, so they didn't show up.
I arrived
but
at the party.
it is clear to me that somebody was on the hood of this car. It is clear to me that somebody took a flying leap while they were on this car. And what I would try to figure out, Mr. Fickett, is why Mr. Moore would lie to me about having seen you do that. Did you have any prior relationship with him? Did you have any
I don't know
prior
these
problem
people.
with
I was
him?
at the party because of a friend of a friend.
Okay. So you don't. Just a second. So you don't know him. Is that right? You don't know him at all.
No.
Why in the world would somebody make up a story like that about you?
Because this petty girl's crying about someone damaging her car, and they need someone to blame.
So they blamed you.
I guess. Maybe they
You
don't
wanna
like
tell
Arizona
me
State
something?
beats me.
Step up, young lady.
I
Tell
was
me your
there.
name.
My name's Kim.
Okay, Kim.
And I was there with him the whole night. This is kind of almost funny to us. When you pull into the street, when we first pulled into the street of where the party was going on, we had no idea where it was because, like he said, there was three parties. I mean, it's a big street. We had to park like 2 streets down. There was tons of cars, tons of people walking around all over the place.
Get to the point.
Anybody could have done this. When he stands up here and gives like an oath, like, I'm sorry, but my dad's a minister. I don't know if you're religious, but that's like not cool. You don't stand up here because I was with him the whole night. The whole night. I stayed with him. I sat outside. Excuse me, I'm talking. I sat outside. I was talking to, I seen a girlfriend of mine that I used to work with. He's talking to Nick. I'm talking to my girlfriend. An hour later, I go, I got a sociology class in the morning. You got a wrestling tournament. We better go. We hopped in the car. We said goodbye to everybody. And we left. The only person that we knew there was Nick and this girl that I had just seen there. And, you know, I mean, there was so many people there and there was so many parties going on at any time that I just can't comprehend how this guy is saying this. I was with him the whole night. I was by his side. I walked in the house at one point to go to the bathroom. And when he says 30 people, 70, if not more, when I walked in.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lovely young lady. Well, I have to make a judgment as to why Mr. Moore here would make up a story about having seen you cause the damage to the plaintiff's car. Now, I can understand why your girlfriend would tell me that you were together all evening, which isn't even true according to her, because she did go inside for a while to go to the bathroom. Probably was inside at least 10 minutes, because it takes that much time to get through 70 people to find out where the bathroom is and to get out. She wasn't with you the entire evening. The estimated damage is some $2,000 on this car. And it's not a new car, it's
new to me, though.
I understand that. How much did you pay for it?
Roughly $5,000.
What do you mean, roughly $5,000?
Because my mom gave it to me. And it was originally her car. So it
was originally her car, and your mother gave it to you as a gift.
Because I'm going to school and I need a car.
Terrific. And this damage that was done to the car doesn't affect its drivability.
No, but I have to look at it every day and be reminded of him.
Of course you do. And I'm sure that if I award you $2,000, you're going to find a way to have it fixed for that $2,000. So that's what I'm awarding you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He likes to pick fights with people, and that's what he likes to do. And that's why he obviously wasn't invited. We don't associate with people like him.
They don't have anything better to do. They can't sit down and have a conversation like we were doing the whole night. They have to, yeah, dude, where's the pie of beer?
Everyone I talk to says he's psycho.
I've had jealous gossip about me before, and I just thought this was one of those cases. We found the golf club later, but it was broken in half at that point, so.
He fights in the Rage in the Cage circuit. That's the #1 reason why he's so well known, and that's why people think he's so crazy.
University of Arizona is the way to go.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Mullendorf versus Mayfield. Step forward, please.
21-year-old baker Janelle Mullendorf is suing her ex-boyfriend's girlfriend, 21-year-old homemaker Melinda Mayfield, for smashing out her car windows. Melinda is countersuing, claiming Janelle trashed her apartment.
Miss Mullendorf, you and the defendant have a boyfriend in common, and one of you has a child with him. Which one has the child?
I have a child with Christopher.
Where's Christopher?
He is at work.
What kind of work does Christopher do?
He's a furniture salesman, and he moves furniture.
Invisible as he should be. In any event, Miss Mullendorf, is your claim that the defendant vandalized your car?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, she was arrested for vandalizing your car.
Yes.
And you went to some sort of a mediation, a criminal mediation?
Yes.
And at the mediation, you promised to do something. What did you promise to do, Miss Mayfield?
I agreed that I would pay Janelle back for the balance owed on her windows that she had to pay. And in the same note, she agreed that she would stay out of my life, out of Christopher's life, and out of our son's life. Leave us alone. And
okay, now I assume that that was reduced to a writing.
Yes.
Can I see it, please? Because suffice it to say that the payment for the window was never made, and you have a defense to that. So let me see what you agreed to.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Out!
I was a witness to it.
Did you hear what I said to you? Out!
Did you want me to leave?
Yes. What does out mean?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Janelle Mullendorf says her ex-boyfriend's girlfriend, Melinda Mayfield, smashed out her car windows and refuses to pay. Melinda says Janelle won't stay out of her life.
Did you do community service?
No.
They call you Mindy?
Yeah, that's my nickname.
Yeah. Why didn't you do community service?
I had spoken to the woman a few times, and she said they had a list that they were going to mail out to me of places to call on community service, and they never did. And you know,
so you just didn't do that, and you didn't pay her the $520 that you agreed to pay her.
Nope. I have pictures.
Just a second. You don't need any pictures. She said she went through a mediation. Instead of getting arrested, having a record, she agreed to pay for the windows and apologized for breaking them. That's what it says here. So she didn't do community service, and she didn't pay the $520. You didn't have to show me anything. When did you break the windows? And don't tell me I didn't break the windows.
Well, I did not break the windows.
Okay, you did break the windows. When did you break the windows?
She broke them on the November 20th of '01.
Tell me the circumstances for breaking the windows.
She came over to Christopher's apartment, which I was there. We were not allowing her into the apartment because she was very angry. And she banged on the door and she said if I didn't come out, she was going to break all my windows out in my car. And I was like, Christopher, you need to go out there and talk to her. This is your business. Well, she went and got the tire iron out of her car, and she broke out my front windshield, my side windshield, and my back windshield.
And you saw her do that?
Yes.
Okay.
I was not there. I was at my brother's house with
I don't
him.
believe him. I don't believe you. Now, let's go. It doesn't make any difference. You agreed to pay for the windows.
So she would
you
stay
didn't
away from
pay
me
for the
and my
windows.
son
You
and
didn't
my
pay for the
boyfriends.
windows. Now you give me the defense.
The reason I did not pay, because in this agreement, she strictly said she was not going to come around me, my child, or my boyfriends. She said she was going to stay out of her life. She asked for some property that was in the apartment, which I did not know whether or not any of it was hers. I asked Christopher. He said yes, that some of it was, not all of it. We agreed to make a time with her to come give her the things. On Saturday...
So now Christopher's gone back to you?
Yes.
So from being with her, he decided to go back to you?
We've been together since the baby was born.
Was the baby born in November?
January 1st, 2000.
Oh, okay. So while you were pregnant, he was with her?
Right.
And then after the baby was born, he came back to you?
Right.
The prize, who's selling furniture someplace. Okay, so now he's back living with you?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So March 23rd, 3 days after our mediation, me and my brother went to my apartment to pick up laundry. Shanda met us over there. Whenever I got there, my door was unlocked. I went inside. My entire apartment was ransacked and trashed. Pictures of me and Christopher holding our son for the first time were demolished, smashed, ripped, torn. And when I spoke to the lady about the mediation, she said that...
what does that have to do with you paying the $520?
The things missing were the things she asked for in the agreement. She obviously didn't stay away. She broke in. She refuses to get out of his life. She lives with his brother. She calls, harasses. She comes by, drives by our house repeatedly.
You choose to have a baby with a loser. That's your problem. You get involved with and that makes you a loser. Hopefully, you'll grow up so that your child won't be a loser.
My child's
but right now, oh yeah, raised by two losers. Unless you wisen up, somebody who lives with one woman while he's impregnated another woman.
She didn't live with him.
Just a minute. Hangs around with her while he's got a pregnant lady who's due to deliver in about 3 months, and then said, well, now I'm going to go live with her, and doesn't have the moral fortitude to come to court with either one of them because he had to work selling his furniture, or was he running IBM? I'm not sure which one you told me, right? That person is a loser. Now, you made an agreement which would keep you from having a record, and that was that you were going to pay for her windows. That's what you do. And if you believe that she was responsible for burglarizing your apartment and for vandalizing your apartment, you call and you make a police report. And if they find her prints there, then they will arrest her. But you don't take it upon yourself to say, listen, I think she's the one who broke into my apartment.
I know she is. She took everything that she wanted.
Pay attention.
She has no proof she busted out the windows either.
Get out. Get out. This is not a dance party.
I'm sorry.
Get out. Out.
I was a witness to it.
Did you hear what I said to you? Out.
Did you want me to leave?
Yes. What does out mean?
I'm sorry about that.
Just out. Out is out. Bottom line, you make an agreement with the criminal justice system. You abide by that decision. And if you feel as if she's breached the decision, you don't resort to self-help and say, I don't have to keep my end of the bargain.
This is what the mediators told me. They said...
Listen to me.
Okay, I'm listening.
Tell me what the mediators told you. These are the same mediators who didn't send you a list of places to go to do your community service. Everybody's screwing up except you. Yep. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $520. That's
Hello, I have a claim.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Trên tay mình đang cầm đây là dòng sản phẩm dầu gội khô Batistic, là một trong những dòng dầu gội được gọi là dòng dầu gội cho những người lười biếng. Thì đối với dòng dầu gội này thì Batistic Plus là sự hòa quyện của hoa hồng nồng nàn, hương lan năm khi tinh tế, quyện cùng với vị ngọt tươi mát của vải thiều, mang đến một cái hương thơm nữ tính nhưng mà vẫn giữ được cái tính mạnh mẽ quyến rũ. Chỉ cần lắc xịt massage là tóc của chúng ta sẽ sạch và bồng bềnh một cách ngay lập tức. Và cách dùng, trước khi dùng thì chúng ta sẽ lắc mạnh bình xịt trước khi chúng ta sử dụng, và giữa các lần xịt thì chúng ta sẽ tách cái phần tóc làm nhiều phần, giữ cái bình xịt khoảng 20 cho đến 30 cm. Sau đó là chúng ta sẽ xịt vào cái chân tóc, dùng các đầu ngón tay của chúng ta massage nhẹ nhàng để cho cái phần dầu gội phủ đều lên cái phần da tóc. Và sau đó chúng ta sẽ dùng lược chải hoặc là chúng ta dùng tay để tạo các cái kiểu tóc mà chúng ta mong muốn. Như vậy là chúng ta sẽ có một mái tóc sạch, bồng bềnh. Và cái cách bảo quản và cảnh báo khi mà chúng ta dùng các cái dòng xịt như thế này thì là tránh cái ánh nắng trực tiếp, không để tiếp xúc với nguồn nhiệt, nguồn lửa, không xịt khi mà đang hút thuốc hoặc là để những nơi mà có cái nguồn nhiệt lên đến 50 độ C. Không được cố ý đốt hay làm vỡ bình xịt cho dù là khi chúng ta đã sử dụng hết. Đó là một cái lưu ý khi chúng ta dùng các cái dòng bình xịt như thế này. Thì đối với những mái tóc mà chúng ta lười biếng vội, hoặc là để chúng ta muốn có một mái tóc sạch bóng bềnh thì không nên bỏ qua cái dòng xịt khô Patitest này.